Hey, what's going on, fam? How's it going? Good morning. What's going on to you? Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. I wanted to bring this statistic to you this morning, put it full screen, open up the call line in just a second. Look at that. That was flashes of murder ball. All right. It wasn't complete murder ball, but it was pretty damn close to it. Alabama beating Ole Miss 24-10. Let me know where you're coming from inside the comment box. And like and to subscribe as well. Sacks. 5 quarterbacks sacks last night. Those are the type of numbers that we needed to see from this defense. Quarterback pressures, 8. 8 quarterback pressures. And when we talk about this Alabama team, we wanted to see this defense take control, this defense come together. And I think when you look at the defense now collectively, you're starting to see that this team can win a lot of games. And I think that it's important to know that this defense is still finding themselves. But last night, what we saw from the defense, I think, was an incredible sign of this team starting to come together. And if the defense is able to be the strong suit of this team while the offense continues to find its identity, and we're finding Alabama's identity right now on the offensive side. It's not perfect, but it's starting to come together. It's better than it was against South Florida. It's better than it was against Texas. And the defense has been the staple. So I think what we're finding out about this team is that this defense is really good. How good? Well, I think they're only going to get better because you look at the 2 offensive coordinators that they faced in the first 4 games of the season, Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin. Look, when the game started, let me ask you this. It felt like Ole Miss was going to score, 28, 35 points. It just seemed like their fastball type offense was just ready to go. And then when Alabama's defense kind of settled in and forced some punts, it started, to change the tide, so to speak. Now, everybody was a little bit concerned, and rightfully so, when Jalen Milroe goes down and throws an interception. I think all of us were like, oh my God, here we go again. With that said, he didn't continue to force bad passes. I'm going to bring up some statistics before I take your calls because I wanted to highlight a couple of things that really stand out to me when you look to Jalen Milroe's passing grades, okay? So, Pro Football Focus, the grades are out, and these were some statistics that jumped off the board to me when I was looking at them actually last night. I was just kind of cruising over them. So deep passes that are 20-plus yards downfield. His grade is an insane 97.6. Like, that's crazy good. That's tops in the entire landscape of college football. 10 of 15 for 379 yards with 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's remarkable. But medium passes, those intermediate passes, he has a grade of 27.8, where he has 4 of 11, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, right? Short passes, those are out to the flats, screens, whatever, 22 of 27 with an interception as well. Those are some stats that stood out. Here is his actual, this is Jalen Milroe's passing tree. I put together kind of the graphic play art. I was playing around with it this morning. As you can see, to the outside left and to the outside right, deep passes, he's flawless. He's elite to the outside left in between the numbers. And you're talking 20 yards downfield. What's up, Steven? I see you in the comment box. Good morning to you. To the outside left, he's 3 of 4, 108 yards with 2 touchdowns, a passing rating of 156.3. That is perfect. Between the numbers, 20 yards downfield, 223 yards with 2 touchdowns, 149. That's nearly perfect. But when you get to that kind of that mid-range, and especially to the left, you see that's where his interceptions are, right? His 3 interceptions are all to the left, 20 yards under, and around 10 yards. So if you're starting to look at these, kind of the statistics and the grades from this, you're starting to take away a lot from Jalen Milroe. Let's look at the offensive stats overall. Someone said the other day that they didn't really like the stats. I think the stats are important to highlight because it gives us a picture of where the team is at, okay? And so let's go through the stats. We'll kind of go through them, and then I'll take your calls, okay, right here in the morning. Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Up to the top left, Jace McClellan, 52 rushes this season. He has a net total of 263 yards. He was a second running back in consecutive weeks to rush for over 100 yards. After that, you have Roydell Williams, who has 200, and actually he has a net of 198 yards and 1 touchdown. Jalen Milroe then has a net of 120. So right now you have 3 players from Alabama that have rushed for over 100 yards. Let's say 2 for over 200, because Roydell Williams is 2 yards shy of that. You're starting to see that power run game take effect. And I liked how they were able to use Jalen Milroe a couple times and just power runs from the quarterback. Hey, look, kid is built to do it. Do it. Passing wise, Jalen Milroe, 44 of 66, 3 interceptions, 674 yards, 6 touchdowns, his longest of 54, averaging 224 per game. Then receiving down here to the bottom left, let's see if we can get a better look at that. Isaiah Bond leading the team right now in receptions, 11 for 162. Jermaine Burton, 189 off just 8 receptions. Kobe Prentice, I'm not sure where he was last game, 8 receptions for 88 yards. Roydell Williams, 6 for 24. And Amari Nyblack, Chase McClellan, and CJ Dupree also have 4 receptions. So there's kind of a look at the offensive statistics. Let's look at the defensive statistics, and then I'll pipe in the Pro Football Focus grades, and then I will take your calls right here on BAMA Football on YouTube. Here are the defensive statistics from yesterday, and I highlighted this at the beginning of the show. You see that Terrion Arnold had 8 total tackles, and he had 2 pass breakups, and he had 1 interception. In the post game, Coach Kiffin said, we tried to go after number 3 again. They tried. Terrion Arnold had a very good game. He's playing at a very good level. This is very important for Alabama. Jahad Campbell, 7 tackles, the inside linebacker spot, playing very well. Malachi Moore had one of the most pivotal hits in the game on the quarterback, Jackson Dart. Malachi Moore playing at a very high level. Jalen Key, 5 tackles. Dallas Turner played like a top 5 pick against Ole Miss. He had a Pro Football Focus grade, I'll show you that right next, of 88. That's the highest Pro Football Focus grade we've had thus far. 5 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss. 2 of those are sacks. He had a forced fumble. He was playing at an insane high level yesterday, playing with a lot of emotion. Let's get those Pro Football Focus grades to you right now. Pro Football Focus grades up to the top left. Let's start with Caleb Downs, who's just a freshman, by the way. 67 total snaps. His defensive grade, 83.9. That's elite for a freshman. 2 freshmen. Terrion Arnold, 79.9. That's amazing. Kool-Aid, 78.2. The secondary played lights out. Malachi Moore, 69.7. Jalen Key, 66.8. And then Dallas Turner, 88.3. These are the highest grades that we've had from the defense the entire season. I think when you look to players of the game, clearly it's Dallas Turner, but I think other guys that are going to get game balls from Alabama, which comes out on Monday, probably Terrion Arnold and Caleb Downs as well. Maybe even Malachi Moore. I mean, there could be several guys. That defense played elite. People were asking about Jaheim Otis. He did play in 28 snaps against Ole Miss. Let's look at the offensive Pro Football Focus grades. Start at the top left. Tyler Booker started at guard, 70 snaps, 74.6 grade. J.C. Latham, 68.1. Seth McLaughlin, 61.2. And Jalen Milroe, 82.4. Played in 69 snaps. Darian Dalcourt, 51.4. So those grades from the offensive line still not where they need to be, but I think kind of we've gotten accustomed to that. Where's Malik Benson been? There he is at the bottom of your screen. Played in 31 snaps. Just hasn't gotten the ball. Has a grade of 53.8. And despite Jermaine Burton catching for over 60 yards, he had a grade of 57.3. Probably a penalty had a lot to do with that. Okay, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I want to get your take on this Alabama team after they beat Ole Miss. And the reason I ask, for your guys' early feedback this morning is, do you feel that this win has put this team on the right trajectory? I do, honestly. I think if the defense can come with it like that and have that type of intensity and have that type of energy, then sky's the limit for this team, honestly, if they continue to develop on the offensive side. The games might not be as pretty as they've been the past, I don't know, like maybe not last year, but all those years before. Yeah, I think this is it. Mike is saying inside the comment box, a cautious optimism. And I think you can win street fights, though. And look, you just win the game. And I've said this many times. Coach Saban said this during the fall. He said that he doesn't care about stats. He cares about winning. And I think that was a major clue to how this team is going to win games. I'm not saying that I'm not condoning any of the interceptions that Milroe is going to throw or turnovers or whatever. It's just, that's it. Like, this team can win football games. Statistically, it might not be pretty. In fact, did you know this? Alabama right now through 4 games, the opposition has more passing yards than Alabama. The opposition has a total of 115 passing yards. Alabama has like 814. It's by 1 yard. Alabama's still 3-1 on the season, 1-0 SEC play. It's a very good win. We go to the phone lines. Let's start with the 251. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. It's Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? I appreciate you calling in, man. What are your takeaways following the victory over Ole Miss?
Hey, you mentioned stats. I'm an engineer by trade, so stats are my life. You're not going to have – stats matter. You can say you don't care about them all you want. They do matter because you can't say you have a good team without good stats. It's kind of – it ain't going to last very long. Sometimes they don't tell the whole story, but they tell a whole lot of the story. So yeah, we got those stats have to improve. There's no question about that. It's looking like if they give Milroe plays, for him, that the things can work better. We're starting to see that if we had a Lane Kiffin as the offensive coordinator or Steve Sarkisian as the offensive coordinator all from the beginning of the season, we'd be undefeated right now because they would have already designed those plays that fit Milroe. And Reese he's getting there now, although that first and goal when the ball got snapped over Milroe's head, that drove me insane. Not because of the center, which again that was bad on the center's part, but why are you in that formation to begin with? You're on the 1 yard line with Milroe, and you're in the shotgun. It's things like that drives you insane. The dude, my brother and I were screaming mad because we were thinking, he shouldn't have snapped over Milroe's head, but he shouldn't have been in that situation. This is 4 straight quarterback sneak with Milroe. Nothing else. It's coming. You can guess, but so what? You got to stop it. And you have a shotgun. Things like that drive you crazy with Tommy Reese. But Milroe, he played better. We all know about the pass, the interception. It was really bad. That's one the bad thing about the Milroe interception. When he throws them, they're extremely bad. It's like, gosh, man. I'm not a quarterback, but goodness gracious, I wouldn't have done that. But he wrote the ship, so he turned things around, and if you look at the game as far as the stats and all, Alabama really dominated that game. Which our mistakes, unfortunately, is what's keeping those games close, and that's the bad part. Because eventually, if we keep this going, we're going to run into LSU or Texas A&M game is the game is the season right there, or the Ohio State or somebody like that. Mm-hmm. You don't score, then you can be in deep trouble. Mm-hmm. But it was better. It was definitely much better. Well, of course, there's always mistakes. The defense, it looks like they're trying to shift it into another gear, and get us where maybe we can lean on this defense because we knew this was going to have to be old school Alabama. 2010, 2009, 2010 type season where we rely a lot heavy on the defense and the offense just gives us, make some plays here and there where maybe a game managing quarterback that doesn't make the big mistakes and maybe we can push this on through. But the offense and the offensive line have been letting us down. It was like night and day in the first and second half. Yeah. First half was just as frustrating as could be. But the second half, it was like, wow, this is like a team that can go the distance.
Yeah, I know. So on with Robert from Mobile. Robert, I 100% agree with you. You get a block punt, and you saw probably Coach Saban break down that play. Coach Saban is such a genius. Like, for those who said like the game has passed him by, like, go watch that clip of Saban breaking down the punt block. It's phenomenal, right? So Alabama's on the 1, and they come out and they're in shotgun, and you're like, dude, the quarterback is, I don't know, 220, 230. Like, just get into the end zone. Doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes you make football overcomplicated. Like, just stuff it in, right? Snap goes over the snaps. I mean, that could be detrimental. Imagine if you get into a game, like you said, on the road, Texas A&M, 4th down and 1, game's on the line, and this snap. Like, that's the game. Like, why is this continuing to be an issue? It hasn't been an issue for when has it been an issue for Alabama? Never, right? So I don't know what is going on. I don't know if that is ever going to be addressed. Like, that cannot be the norm. And you're right. Like, the interceptions that he has thrown have all been terrible. All of them. Every single one. They haven't been like a tip. They haven't been, kind of a drop and some corner makes a great play. They've all been terrible. But with that said, as the great
and they were better.
Go ahead, Robert.
Oh, and there were better options, as we all see, in hindsight. But when the ball was going in the air on the interception, we saw it number 3.
Yep.
I thought the ball was going to him, and it kept sailing over his head. So that was, okay, yeah. Well, I thought we had blown it at that point. But, the defense was just, they were just outstanding yesterday.
Yeah.
And the offensive line on that last touchdown drive, a thing of beauty.
You know what? I mean, this team, they can run the football. I mean, for 2 straight weeks, and I get it, that South Florida game, whatever. They're able to run the football. And Jace looked great last night. Roydell looked great the week before. Jam Miller he's going to have to miss that first half of this game because of targeting. But you have another guy in Justice Haynes that can come up. Like, this team can run the football, and that is starting to be kind of something that they're leaning on. And you're right. Like, it was a tale of 2 halves because that first half, check this out, Robert. The last 3 weeks, Alabama has not been in the lead at halftime. And I'll get to my other callers in just a second. But think about this.
Wow.
Against Texas, they were down, 13-6. Against South Florida, it was 3-3. And yesterday that they were losing to Ole Miss 7-6. Like, those are facts. The second half, the way that this team...
I've heard some other stats, too, that were just terrible. I mean, like getting this mental stats again.
Yeah, right? Like, that stat has to... Yeah, that stat has to improve. But you're right. Like, the second half of that team, I was like, I can get on board with this team. Like, this, and the defense spurred energy into Bryant-Denny Stadium. And that's what I was saying. Like, in the beginning, if that happens at the beginning of the first quarter, Alabama's able to run away with a game like that because the energy really changed. And the fans are now like, oh, we have to be an added element to help this team win as well, which they haven't necessarily had to do in the past. Any last point, Robert, before I let you go?
No, you're absolutely right about we got to be more involved. I mean, this is a rebuilding year. We should have come in with the season, which a lot of us did. That's why you saw all this doubt in the team in the off season. And the team, sensing that we doubted them because we knew what all stuff we were losing. We knew who we were losing in Bryce Young and a bunch of other players. And we say, how can this be anything but a rebuilding season? As if how bad it's going to be. That we were coming in thinking. And maybe at that first game, we did like the old Auburn fans do. We beat up on the Patsy. Auburn beats up on the Patsy, and they feel good about themselves. Alabama, unfortunately, we did the same thing. We start feeling good about ourselves and beat up on the Patsy. But, I do see signs that Milroe can improve enough to maybe even be, with the right team, a championship quarterback. Now, the thing is, all the things that we say is designed it around him, let him run more and all that. That's great for us in college. We could even win a championship with that. But that doesn't get him to the NFL as a quarterback. So it's what do you want? As what kind of career do you want here, Milroe? You want to be go NFL quarterback? then you're going to have to learn those defenses and be able to sit in that pocket and read them from it if you want to be an NFL quarterback. Now, if you can't do that and we just want to win, then we give you the kind of plays that Gus Malzahn used to give his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in the NFL,
yeah.
but he won some games. Yep. So there you go. All right, man.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Robert. Thanks for leading out the show.
It's later.
All right, it's Robert from Mobile. We got a 419 and a 615. Get to you guys in just a second. My name is Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Today we're talking what we learned following Alabama's 24-10 victory over Ole Miss. I assume that the AP poll will be dropping here within the next 30 minutes. If you guys see that, will you guys post Alabama's new ranking inside the comment box? Did you guys watch the Notre Dame and Ohio State game? Did you see Ryan Day calling out Lou Holtz after the game and saying that the world is against Ohio? Did you see the Washington State coach going after Lee Corso? Yeah, it was these like mid 40-year-olds were going after the guys who are 85 and 86 years old last night. I was like, because Ryan Day, after they won that game, and I get it, it was a highly contested game in South Bend. Ohio State wins on the last play of the game. And then he comes out and he's like, where's Lou Holtz at? Where's Lou Holtz at? And I was like, Lou Holtz is probably asleep. It was late. And Lee Corso was getting some smoke too. So by Washington State. Anyways, I thought there'd be more points in that game. Ohio State's able to win. And how about Florida State able to survive? Clemson is driving down to win the game, and they miss a field goal, and then Florida State is able to win in overtime. So Florida State still alive. Notre Dame drops its first game. Wasn't a bad game to lose to Ohio State. That was a pretty good football game. We go back to the phone lines with the 419. We start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? Roll Tide. This is Deshaun from Ohio.
What's up, Deshaun? I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in. Welcome to the show. Take it away.
Okay, so I want to give a shout out. I don't know if people watched the show yesterday, but I highlighted 3 players, and I highlighted Jalen Milroe, Dallas Turner, and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Those 3 yesterday balled out. Besides the turnover, Jalen Milroe played almost a perfect game, 17 to 21. That's pretty damn good. Dallas Turner played like the way we're supposed to be seeing him right now. Jalen Hale, welcome to the party. And then, Kool-Aid McKinstry, down there, every pass that was through his way was a down there pass breakup, or he made an open field tackle. And I want people to realize this, man. This is not a rebuilding year for us. Y'all just got to get out there habit, man. This is not the superstar era no more. We don't have Bryce. We don't have Jalen Hurts. We don't have Mac Jones. Nick Saban loves Jalen Milroe, y'all. Because this is taking him back to like the 2012 Alabama teams where all we got to do really on offense is just get 20 points. And the defense is going to take care of the rest, man. So I want to shout out to them. And I also want to shout out Lane Kiffin for all the trolling all week and putting the battery in our back. And did y'all see the look on his face in the press conference? He was like, I don't know what happened. I think Nick Saban just took over again and started coaching. Now I find that real funny to me.
Yeah, that was so what Deshaun is talking about. So in Lane Kiffin's post game, because going into this game, Kiffin was tweeting the entire way, and he was also saying that T-Rob had taken over the play calling duties for Kevin Still, right? So after the game, a reporter asked Lane Kiffin, they were like, who did you think was calling the defense yesterday? And Coach Kiffin is like, I don't know. He was like, but they're doing a pretty damn good job. And he's like, maybe it was Coach Saban took over. And then he just went on laughing about it. Look, Saban's a defensive-minded coach. I think, I'm telling you, I know firsthand that Alabama, they didn't do talking on social media, but Lane got to them. The trolling was pissing them off. They were mad about it. And they wanted to come in this game, and the defense really wanted to turn it up. And I think they did just that. I mean, the play, like you said, the play of Dallas Turner and Kool-Aid, Very high levels. Same thing with Terran Arnold. Thought he did a great job. Caleb Downs. That guy's just a freshman, and he's playing through the roof. Tim Smith played angry. These guys got to the quarterback. 8 quarterback pressures and 5 sacks. That is the defense that we are looking for. And this defense continues to play well. I looked to that game against Texas. There was 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You take away those touchdowns, this team's 4-0 and probably ranked like what, number 3 in the country, number 2. So it's a work in progress, and this team can win. And that was a great win against Ole Miss. Coach Kiffin, and like Robert was saying earlier, on with Deshaun from Ohio right now, credit to Kiffin because that guy's an offensive mastermind. Some of the plays that he would draw up and the guys that would be like wide open, you're like, where the hell did this guy come from? Did he literally like come off the sideline? Like, that's how open he is. I mean, he's got a great offensive mind, but Alabama went man, and they did a great job yesterday. I mean, just hats off to the defense. What else you got, Deshaun?
Oh, yeah, and another thing, I like how Jalen Milroe's press conference, because he said he goes into the game with that next play mentality. That's the guy we need, y'all. No matter what happens, still perform, man. Don't let that interception make you feel down on yourself and you need to play it back. After he threw that interception, we saw a totally different quarterback after that. We saw somebody who was determined to get us out that game. And that's what we need to see from him. Yeah, again, shout out to Jalen Milroe, 17 of 21. And that's all I got, really, Kyle. I'm just happy with the performance. Glad my X Factors did what they said they was going to, but I said they was going to.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Deshaun, and we'll catch up with you next time, man. Appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right, man. Take it easy. Real tight to you. That's Deshaun calling out in Ohio. We got a 615 and a 215 inside the call queue. Get to you guys in just a second. Got a super chat in. Hey, Kyle, I thought Reese called a pretty good game today. What'd you think? I think when you look to the game plan from Tommy Reese, I did like that there was some quarterback design runs, and I think that they were able to take some shots downfield, especially in the second half. I thought it was imperative that at some point in the second half, you had to take a shot, whether that was to Burton, which he did. I thought in the first half, just like Deshaun from Ohio said, Jalen Hell, welcome to the party. Being able to go to a different wide receiver downfield, and we've continued to see these wide receivers come up with some tough catches. The pass that Jermaine Burton caught, that was a very, very difficult catch. And I think there's a photo that I have that kind of demonstrates that just a little bit, because the angle that the ball came in, it was completely over his head. And you can see through this photo right here what I'm talking about. Look at how he caught this football, and look at where even the defensive back was unable to see where the ball was, and the ball had came in. And look at that catch that Burton's able to have. Burton's playing at a very high level, and you're right, Adam, that he is playing at a high level, and he did make a hell of a catch. That was amazing. So hats off to Jermaine Burton. I mean, he's not getting a ton of passes thrown his way, just considering this is the type of offense we're in, but he's playing at a very high level, and I think his NFL stock is certainly climbing. He's ready for the NFL. Jermaine Burton is going to be drafted in the NFL, and I wouldn't have said that he was going to be, maybe like a 6th, 7th round guy, but I'm so glad that he came back. This guy has earned a lot of money already this season. We go back to the phone lines with the 615. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, or where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Michael calling in from Nashville.
Hey, Michael, I appreciate the call. Welcome to the show. Take it away.
Well, first, man, just want to say thanks for providing a great outlet for all the University of Alabama fans. I've listened to your show for a couple of years now, and first time calling in, so just a big thanks for the work you're doing, and keep up the awesome efforts. Man, there are so many topics we could speak to. I'll just try to keep it focused to a few of them. First thing, I mean, I'm as pumped as anybody. Got a win over Ole Miss. It looks like it was a pretty good win. I would say it was. I think we all know we still have a lot to be desired. Still have a lot of things to prove in terms of 1 week. Does that mean we walk into the rest of the SEC schedule and just, walk in and expect to win by 2 touchdowns? I don't know about you, but I'm thinking probably not. I think yesterday still showed as well that with an incredible defensive effort, we can score 24 points. But big picture, I mean, what is that, six points a quarter? And I don't know about you, but when I'm thinking about the road to the SEC championship, I'm not thinking 6 points a quarter gets it done. And again, I'm not trying to throw any water on anything. I think what I'm trying to do is see this victory in its proper context. Beyond that, I'd love to see Jalen really sit in and learn to be able to get the ball to the talent around him. I think it's abundantly clear that there is a ton of talent. It's just a matter of, can he run this offense and get the ball to them? And then I think last but not least, the defensive effort was absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to see them come out and even against teams like LSU and Georgia and Tennessee, hold them to 20, 21 points. The question is, do we have enough confidence in our offense that they will put up? I mean, I can't remember until, we have 3 field goals yesterday. I watched the game. Unfortunately, my wife, I can't believe this is going to take my man card. My wife had me out shopping yesterday until about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So I come in. I didn't want to see any of the game. I went right back to the start of the stream and just fast forwarded through all the commercials. And as she was listening to my commentary, she was like, "Why are you so down all the time?" And I realized when you fast forward it, how many negative comments there were to make when you watch the game in a little faster stream, because even I was like, good night, fumbles, or not fumbles, bad snaps, penalties on touchdown plays, missed tackles in the backfield that still get sprung. I mean, the defense played phenomenally yesterday, but I'm trying to measure my excitement. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that. And then again, just a big thanks for all the efforts you've been making. And just give me what you think on everything I just said.
Look, number one, happy wife, happy life. So I get that. But with that said, man,
amen, Kyle. Amen.
I assume you've been married for quite some time. So, there's nothing wrong with saying your stomach hurts a little bit, or, you might be coming down with something. So you gotta always be one step ahead, especially with the college football slate like
Tell
that.
it like it is, Kyle. How long have you been married, by the way?
I'm just saying. So I have a lot of marriage experience. Okay, so
how long have you been married?
I was married for 14 years. So I was married for 14 years.
Oh, man.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I got you.
With that said, I think that when you look to that first half and you look to the second half of that football game, clearly Alabama went in and made changes at half. And Coach Saban even said in his post game, he's like, there's a lot of things that are testing my patience. And I thought that was a hilarious
Amen.
clip.
Yeah, I saw that.
I uploaded it to
getting to the 1 yard line and kicking a field goal. I thought that was great.
And just like Robert said, is like, why are you coming out with 1 yard? And Jalen Milroe, he could fall down and he gets that touchdown. So why are you coming out in shotgun when you know that you're having, every snap, I'm a little bit nervous now. Just because, I don't know, this missed snap stuff, I've never seen it before, especially with an elite program like Alabama.
It's brutal, and it's
I don't know what happened to Michael, but
top of all the other things we're already fighting against. And it's, again, I don't mean to be tough on Kyle Reese. He's 30 years old. Tommy he did Reese. Coach at Notre Dame. Yeah. What did I call him? I don't know what I called him.
You called him Kyle.
He did coach. Kyle Reese. Okay. Was that the guy from Terminator? Oh, man, we lost it now, Kyle. We lost it now. But, hey, Kyle Henderson, that's what it was. I mean, he wasn't Notre Dame. This should not be unfamiliar territory. I tell you what, we got so much talent. Cater to what Milroe's strengths are. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to give Kyle Reese time. But then on the other hand, his time was when he was at Notre Dame. I mean, it's not like he's some grad assistant who all of a sudden got promoted and this is the first time he's had the keys to the. I mean, Notre Dame doesn't recruit crap. We're up by 3 at halftime against the 1-3. It's literally fun every weekend. Now, is that because we're not the team we used to be? That's exactly it. But I mean, I guess you got to, paint a favorable picture or have fun regardless of it. And I also wanted to say, man, you had I don't know if it was a blog post or just a little article that you write, because I don't know where all you do your work at.
Yeah.
But I saw your tribute about Saban and be grateful for what we have. Yeah. And again, I just thought that, man, I thought that hit the nail right on the head, because this awesome thing will come to an end. And what's going to come after it? I don't know. Is Dabo Swinney going to come after it? Is Lane Kiffin going to come? Are we going to be the same, perennial contender? I don't know, but I thought that was great, just kind of 30,000-foot view, taking a moment to step back and look at the entirety of what Saban has done since 2007 when he showed up. So yeah, just good awareness. I appreciated the sentiment there. I thought it was spot on, but I don't want to take all your time, man, but I love talking to you.
All right. I appreciate the call, man. Catch up next time. See ya. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys being here. So I basically started a place where I can do some editorial writing, just a little bit. I'm just going to throw up like an article every once in a while. I like to write as well. Video is my platform, but just another space to kind of get my thoughts out. So I did want to write an article about Saban and just kind of appreciating Saban. So I'll put that link inside the comment box if you guys haven't seen it. And it's kind of part of a newsletter as well. But I mean, we almost have 100,000 subscribers, so it's not that difficult to get the message out. So I appreciate you guys being here. I think we're almost to 93,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. And I appreciate all of you guys being right here with me. Alabama is able to beat Ole Miss 24-10, 1-0 in SEC play. That second half team wins a lot of football games. I think when you look to the rest of Alabama's schedule, you know, there's some teams, it's going to be a gauntlet here coming up. I mean, Mississippi State on the road, you can't let that be a trap game. You can't be overconfident in any game. This team does not have that ability to be overconfident right now at all. But you take that momentum that you had from the second half and you carry that into Stark Vegas and you're able to take care of business. Can Alabama, this is the thing. You go into Mississippi State and you try to put together 4 quarters. That's what you do. You try to put together 4 quarters of solid football. Both sides of the football, okay? You limit the turnovers, you limit the missed snaps, the penalties, and they did a better job on the penalties yesterday. Special teams has been a key component. That's probably been the most consistent thing for this team this entire season, right? I saw someone on social media was like, the one constant or the most consistent thing in my life right now is the play of Will Reichard. Playing at a very high level. He's 7-7, and it feels like every single time that he goes up to knock down a field goal, he's money. I mean, remember like the days, like even like 3-4 years ago before Riker got here, every time a field goal kicker went up for Alabama, it was almost like snapping the football is nowadays, right? Like you snap out a shotgun and you're kind of like on edge. Well, that's how it was, but when Alabama was kicking field goals, right? It was pretty dicey. Like you would get there and you'd be like, oh, I don't know, coach, you should probably go for it on 4th down. Now you're just like, oh, Riker's out there. I'm going to text on my phone or something like that, right? We go back to the phone lines and we get 251. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hi, this is Rusty from Gulf Shores.
Rusty, I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show. Take it away.
Hey, man, so this is the few observations I have, right? So, you know, love Coach Saban. He's always big on consistency of performance, right? We are getting that. We're getting that tons from our defense and our special teams, right? I think the issue with the offense, this is just one of my observations, right? I think one of the issues with the offense is I think that, you know, we need more consistency at the offensive line, of course. But did you notice some of our running plays that we have started pulling guards a little bit more?
Yeah, I like that.
I wasn't for sure that I saw that. So I went back and I kind of rewatched it again and I compared it to game film from like the last couple of games or whatever. So it looks like we're trying to address that. So hopefully that turns that around. The other observation I have is this. So, you know, this year with the clock change,
yes,
to where, you know, don't get, yeah, I think that's going to help us. And the reason why I think it's going to help us is because if we can hold that ball, if we can establish a running game and we can keep our defense, keeping an offense off the field, that is going to help us tremendously. I think that's the 2 biggest things we got going. And I think Saban probably saw the fact that, you know, the clock change.
Yep.
And I think that he kind of geared our offense around that. I mean, that's just what are your thoughts on that?
I think that is a genius thought, honestly. Who would have thought that a sped-up game would have come into place, particularly when Alabama needs to hold the ball, right? This isn't a Ferrari like that it was under Loxley or Steve Sarkisian. Remember, Loxley was getting criticized because he was scoring too quickly. Remember that? They were scoring in like a minute 13. They were like, hey, stop scoring so fast. And then after that, Steve Sarkisian was able to put together some reasonable drives. And now you're having to play clock management. I'll tell you this, I've said this before, there's way too many commercials right now in college football, and the game is being sped up. The game is much faster. I was counting the drives with Jalen Milroe last night. I think he only had like 8 drives, something like that. So clock management is going to be huge. And if this team can run the football and play solid defense, and I guess win time of possession, that is going to help this team until they're able to really take over a game. And I don't know if they're going to be able to take over a game on offense ever, but the defense can really change the momentum of that game and get the football back to Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, Jalen Milroe. So then it becomes down to don't create turnovers and don't put the defense in a bad position like you did against Texas, because Texas was able to capitalize off of key field position. Alabama's defense is very good, and they played Texas the best that they could, but they were also put in some very bad positions, field position-wise, against the Longhorns.
Yeah, totally agree, man. I think that Saban saw this, and I think, I'm not happy with offensive coordinator. I'm not. I mean, the one that's driving me up the wall is the one first and goal 1 yard line. I mean, it drives me up the wall. But I think that it is starting to get addressed, just because I have not noticed as many pull and guard plays as I did yesterday. So anyway, man, I appreciate you. Listened to you for a long time. Love your product. Hopefully I'll call in again. Thanks, man. Have a blessed day.
All right, you too, buddy. Take it easy. All right, good call right there. Nice and concise. We got a 601 and a 201 inside the call queue. My name is Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The weather was great yesterday. It was a little bit hot, but not as hot as it's been the past several weeks. And then today, it's gorgeous outside. In fact, I'm going to, after this call-in show, I'm going to put up is it too early? Let me ask you some personal advice. And I'm going to either way, but I just want some feedback. I'm going to put up a Halloween decoration outside. Is it too early? It's September 24th. I'm going to put up, I went to Home Depot and I purchased that. I wanted the 10-foot skeleton. Okay, I wanted the 10-foot skeleton. So I went there, and of course it was gone. So I bought the 8-foot skeleton, which I'm going to put out here shortly. I drive home, and guess who has the 10-foot skeleton? My next door neighbor. He has it. And they were like, yeah, some guy slept the night before, and it was him. So he beat me to it. Gumb is saying way too early. I know, but people are starting to put them up. So I'm going to do it. Yeah, Adam, I know. October 1 is usually the date, but people already have this going on. So, I guess we're going to get to it. All right, we go back to the phone lines, and it is a 601. Let's go. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, how's it going? It's Jake from Pensacola.
What's up, Jay? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show. Alabama 1-0 in SEC play. It's a beautiful Sunday. All is good in the hood. Take it away, man.
Yeah, it is beautiful up here. I'm up here in Michigan, so it's beautiful up here. But it is not too early to put a Halloween decoration. My wife is already decorated. Like she did her own DIYs and everything. Like she did her stuff herself. She made her own body. She did all of it. I was like it is blasphemy talking to my wife like that. She put up everything early. I like the second half team. That is the old Bama. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say old Bama. That is the Bama that I like. That's the Bama we all knew and grew up and loved. Mm-hmm. And even because you don't say it, I don't say it. Multiple callers don't say it. You got the sports people saying it on halftime. Jalen Milroe is not Tom Brady. He is not Bryce Young. The offense needs to be built around him, and which I'm kind of scared about, because if he get hurt, then we're gonna expect the same thing out of Ty Simpson. So I mean, it goes hand in hand. But as of right now, their playbook is supposed to be built around him. They need. I commented on your video you did yesterday. I think they need more design QB runs. And when they came back out, I think one of the sports people said it too on the SEC network. These are two different teams from first half and second half. When they came out, that was like, it's like somebody said the switch just turned on, and I liked it. I was driving because I had to drive up here, and I was just cussing. I was cussing down the road. I was swerving because I was trying to watch the game and drive because I had to make this delivery. And then what I tell you during the second half, I got so crunk I had to pull inside the road and finish watching the game.
I know it was a tale of two halves. So I was talking to my dad, and so I called my dad, and my phone blows up, right? Like all the time. People want to talk to me about the game, like family and stuff. I get it. I mean, I'm there, got the pulse. And so he didn't see the second half of the game because he lives out in the mountains. So he watched the first half of the game, and he was all pissed off. And then he comes back and he's like, well, what happened in the second half? I was like, oh, it was a completely different game. Like, this is the team that everybody wants to run with, but he only saw the first half. So can you imagine if you just saw the first half of that game, or if you just saw the second half? Because it was completely different. That second half team, that's what I'm saying. Look, it's inconsistent. The teams right now, if this team, that's what I'm saying. You go into this Mississippi State game and you try to be consistent. You try to put 4 quarters of football together. We're not asking anyone to score 42 points, whatever. Like, just play 4 consistent quarters of football. This team has not done that yet, which I think is great, because what is the ceiling of this team? Right? I mean, I think it's really high. We're not even close to how good this team could be. Continue, Jay. I
watched a lot of games yesterday while I was driving, and I was just saying to myself, how come these I feel like when I watch the other teams, I feel like they're playing like us, well, how we used to play. And I was just like, can we get back to that? And the second half, we did it. And I feel like if we do that during the week, if we practice what we did the second half throughout the week, and we talked about before, practice. We're talking about practice. If we not the game I'm going there and die for. We talking about practice.
Allen Iverson, love it.
If we can do that during practice, and practice how we played, specifically how we played. I know every team's different, but we can have the same mindset and mentality. I feel like the ceiling is high for us. Like we don't even have the ceiling at this point. If like they said, if this team plays like this the rest of the season, we going all the way. Now I did watch that LSU and Arkansas game.
Oh yeah, okay. Give me some feedback on that. What is LSU up to?
Man, when I tell you, Kyle, our defense is gonna have to stay with it. When I tell you, Arkansas came up with I want to say a long drive. I think like 12 plays, 13 plays. It took a lot of time off the clock. When LSU got that ball, the first quarter, the first half, LSU wasn't doing nothing. But the second half, when LSU got the ball, they scored in 1 minute. Towards the end of the second half, they had 38 seconds on the clock. They scored a touchdown in 38 seconds. Like this is gonna be a crucial time for us. I thought Arkansas was gonna do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't believe in Arkansas, but what Arkansas showed last night, if there was more time on the clock, Arkansas would have won that game. And I was looking at that, I was like, LSU doesn't look too invincible after all. So I feel like if we watch that film, we could take a lot of things away from it. And I just said we need to continue to attack. If we can do what Arkansas did, take time off the clock, but our defense has to get to stop. And how fast they scored the touchdown, it's gonna be hard to do. Cause he uses legs, and we struggle with mobile quarterbacks. But we have one as well. Like there was. I was looking at their schedule too. I don't know if Ole Miss is gonna give him a challenge or not. But
yeah, On with Jay from Pensacola. Here's a look at Alabama's remaining schedule. Bring that up full screen. So you got a trip to Stark Vegas. That is next Saturday at 8 p.m. So have your energy drinks or Monsters or coffee, whatever you have to do for that kick on ESPN. I don't even know what Alabama would be favored by in that game. I would assume maybe like 7.5. Is that too much? 9.5? Then you have a trip to College Station, back-to-back road games in the SEC to take on the Aggies. I think it's going to be challenging. The last time that Alabama was in College Station, it was Jimbo Fisher who was able to beat Nick Saban. Last season, it was Jalen Milroe who was able to beat Jimbo Fisher, right, when Bryce Young was down.
Right.
Then you have Arkansas. Arkansas comes to Tuscaloosa for homecoming, and guess who played in that game? Well, it was Jalen Milroe as well when Bryce Young goes down in that game. That's going to be challenging. KJ Jefferson is a very talented quarterback, and as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Sam Pittman. And then you have Tennessee. Now, the good thing about Tennessee coming is the game is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama should have a little redemption on their mind for the third weekend of October. Then you have an open week, which I think comes at an amazing time because you have times to prep for LSU, and you have time to get a little bit healthy before that game, because these next 4 games are going to be physical. They're going to be challenging. They're going to be everything they're going to be tight. All of these games are going to be tight. So having an extra week to prep for LSU is perfect. Then you have Kentucky, and then you have Chattanooga, and then you have Auburn. So there's kind of a look at the schedule, for the next several weeks for Alabama. But I love where that open week is on the schedule. Jay, make one more point, man, before we move forward.
I just 2 more things. Georgia, Kentucky, and Missouri are the only 2 undefeated teams left in the SEC. I didn't know that until yesterday. But I feel like Mississippi State is going to be a great test and a great mental test for Jalen Milroe as far as the overall game. Because the 12th man in Texas A&M is no joke.
Yeah.
It is a tough environment to be in. So if we can get mentally tough before we get there, well, Mississippi State gonna be like I said, gonna be the Cowbells are no joke as well. But the 12th man and they're gonna be aiming for us. Like I don't care what game they lost. Like everybody gets our best. I mean, we get everybody else's best. So I just feel like we need to mentally prepare for the Texas A&M game, and because it's gonna be a loud environment. But Kyle, thank you for taking my call. I know you're gonna be back on later, and I'll be back in the chat line. And I appreciate you, man. I only watched 3 college football shows: yours, Josh Pate, and Stephen A&M. So
appreciate the support, man.
You're my number 1, man.
Yeah, you're my number 1 too, Jay, man. I'll catch up with you soon, man. Late.
Roll Tide.
I also have to say what's up to my boy Toby. Toby hasn't texted me this morning. Toby, I don't know if you're sleeping. I'm gonna send me a photo of Toby and I from yesterday. So Toby is here we go. Toby is a lifelong fan from Leeds, Alabama. He watches the show all the time. You want to know something about Toby? Toby is the one who broke. I'm sorry, I'm bad at multitasking. Okay, so Toby is a lifelong football fan, Alabama fan, right? And we got to know Toby throughout this season. He's right in front of the media press box every time I go up to watch a game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So we became buddies, and we've exchanged contact information, and it's kind of been like a new tradition that I take a photo with Toby every single time. So Toby is like on the ball, and Toby, I'm getting on an airplane to go to Tampa, and I literally just got into my seat. I had a middle seat, and I'm sitting there, and Toby texts me, and he's like, hold on, I have to screenshot this. Toby's like, crazy that Tyler Buckner's starting for Alabama. And I'm like, what? So it was Toby who broke the news that Tyler Buckner's starting to me. And I was like, where'd you get that from, Toby? And he's like, Chris Lowe, ESPN. So here's a little shout out to my buddy Toby. I don't know, Toby, if you're still sleeping or whatever, but time to wake up. Time to talk Alabama football. This is my buddy Toby. If you guys could give Toby Roll Tide in the comment box, I'd appreciate that. Toby is, part of the family right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We go back to the phone lines, and we got a 201, a 337, and an 866, and we will go with the 201. We'll start right now. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Adam calling from Georgia. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Adam? I appreciate the support. And, there's plenty to dive into. So welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
Absolutely. Great show. I just had one brief comment. A lot of people have said, Saban looks like he's tired and not as motivated as a coach. But I don't think that that's right. I think that Saban recognizes that the team has some weaknesses and needs to improve, but I think he truly believes the talent is there to win it all. So I think he's adjusted his coaching strategy. Instead of, screaming on the sidelines, he's being patient with the players, knowing that they're going to improve. Mm-hmm. And I think you're starting to see that today when they played towards what I would say the Bama standard. I think it's going to pay off in the end, and I think we're going to get to the playoffs, and it's going to be one of his best coaching years ever. What do you think?
I was thinking about that yesterday, Adam, honestly. So, and here's my take on that, because I was thinking about this. This team needs to be coached up. This team needs to be coached every single day. Coach Saban just said yesterday that he meets with the quarterbacks on Sunday. Coach Saban is loving this. And while all of us read the headlines, while all of us are reading, the news that is blasted out, creating the news that is, coming out, Coach Saban is dialed into coaching this team. And what makes Coach Saban happiest is mentorship and coaching. And he's able to do that this year with a team that needs both mentorship and coaching. This team, I feel right now, probably lacks the leadership that it's had in the past. This is a young team coming into the season. And Coach Saban, I think, is being more patient, because I think that kind of that make Saban mad again, which we want to see. We want to see him blow up. We want to see these rants. But he's so smart, and he controls his psychological disposition, because he knows that this team lacks confidence right now. And those teams that he would get on their ass, that he would fire up, it's because he knew that those teams already had the identity that they were unbeatable, that they had the self-confidence that they were just going to go out and dominate. So Saban could light them up. And if you played sports, you understand kind of how coaches work. And I think what Coach Saban is doing is he's teaching. And a lot of things are testing his patience. He said that yesterday. Alabama even lost a down and distance yesterday and had to kick a field goal. They could have lost the game yesterday because of that. So it's like, there's a lot of things that are testing my patience, but I think Coach Saban is coaching. And no matter what happens with this team, this is probably one of his best coaching jobs ever, despite all the things that are happening in the world of college football and how the game is changing. But one thing that is not changing is his understanding of the actual game, the X's and O's. If you watch Alabama, the University of Alabama tweeted out a video of Coach Saban breaking down when they blocked the punt. It is amazing. The brilliance that he has to be able to understand, just how every single player is responsible for doing their job. He breaks it down to a T. And so maybe kind of the glitz and, kind of the new age philosophy has passed him up. I mean, how could it not? He's going to be 72 here on the 31st of October, but he is, so dialed in. I think he's doing a great job coaching. What else you got, Adam?
Yeah, no, I just think he knows how to deal with these players, and I think he's brilliant. So good win today, Roll Tide, and have a great day, Kyle. Thanks.
All right, man, take it easy. Good call. We have a 337 in the call queue. We'll get to it in just a second. So I don't think the AP or the coaches poll has come out yet. We're trying to go back and forth. Someone posted that Alabama was now number 9. I can't confirm that. I'm doing the show. So if you guys see the actual AP or coaches poll, jump in and be like, I just saw it, and then we'll highlight that on the screen. Giovanni, I appreciate the super chat. He wants to see Saban break a headset. Yeah, I think everybody wants to see, Coach Saban get fired up again, and he probably will when that is ready. But right now, I think he's still doing like his coaching and kind of just like mentoring this team as they certainly need it. We go back to the phone lines with 337. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
David from Louisiana.
Hey, David, what's up, man? Take it away. I appreciate you joining me this morning. Alabama now 1-0 in SEC play. Your show.
Well, yesterday, it's been about 18 years since I've drank any alcohol, and in that first quarter, I thought about going up to the store and buying a fifth of tequila or something, and it's been one of them stressful years. I mean, I've never seen Alabama really lose since 2007 struggle like they have, especially early in the year. But yesterday, I was very excited about how Terry and Arnold played yesterday with the interception and everything. One thing that got me was whenever the Alabama blocked the punt and recovered, on the 1 yard line. Why in the world would we go in shotgun when you had enough weight, the biggest offensive line in the entire country that could have pushed you in with a quarterback sneak? If you don't feel comfortable, put Jaheim Hodis right there in front to make a lane. Why can't we go back to them old days, like when we had Terrence Trent Cody and them that would line up in the backfield and truck a lane, just run the ball straight on in. I was very proud of the way that Milroe played yesterday. Yeah, he made a few mistakes. The offensive line played better in the second half. I believe that after Nick Saban's little interview at halftime, he ran in and kicked the door wide open and told the offensive line he was going to bench everybody if they didn't start blocking. That's what I believe. That's why they came out and played a lot stronger in the second half. Things have got to change, quickly, because we're fixing to get into everybody's been talking about the gauntlet of tough play. Mississippi State, we can't sleep on them. Them cowbells are going to be loud. It's going to be noisy and annoying. But we have the talent, but when is the talent going to wake up and open their eyes and actually step up and play, consistently? We have got to get consistent. If we don't, it's going to be a long, long year, especially when we get into Texas A&M, Tennessee, that team from down there in South Louisiana, that one with a little tiger that's in a cage, and Peter should be over there protesting. I'm just joking about that. Anyway, something's got to happen, because last night when I don't watch LSU really at all. I usually watch them only whenever it's Alabama playing. But I was scrolling through and I seen how close the game was, and I was like, man, this is something else, man. I've got to finish watching this, and let's go Hogs. I was hoping they'd beat LSU. I'll pull for anybody that beats them. But as quickly as their offense was scoring last night, 3 plays down the field, touchdown, the third quarter, or it was the third or fourth quarter, 1 minute off the clock, they scored a touchdown. I'm not saying our defense can't stop them, but our front needs to put more pressure at times. Yeah, Turner had 2 sacks yesterday, and Braswell had 1.5, was in on 1.5. So we've got to do a little bit better on the front end of the defense. It seemed like when Lawson went out last night, that the other 2 linebackers, they wasn't giving the hand signals. They were just looking at each other in the eyes and nodding their head. And the defense, the linebacker play was a lot better. Mm-hmm. I hope Lawson gets back in. Let's give some praise to Robbie Oops. Those were some great catches yesterday from a tight end, some very athletic catches. Mm-hmm. Dupree did good on his blocking somewhat. He missed a couple blocks. The scheme's got to get a little bit more better for Milroe, and the offensive line has got to block a whole lot better than what they are, especially down the road. And I'm not saying they won't gel, but what is the deal? It seems like, these kids, I'm going to the University of Alabama, and just because I go to the University of Alabama, that means I'm going to the next level, and I'm going to be a first-round or second-round draft pick in the NFL just because I played at this iconic school. It don't work like that. If your performance on the field don't show it on tape, and these scouts are watching and they don't see your performance, they ain't going to draft you. We need to get these guys back into the Rolando McClain, the old school way of football. Coaches got to do something and get Tommy Reese and Steele on the sidelines. I want to see an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator to sit in the huddle on the sideline and explain, this is what you did wrong. You didn't see this. You didn't see that. You whatever. We need that. I don't need him up in the press box or up in the booth or whatever calling plays, because it seems like it takes longer for the plays to get on the field. From a radio up top and then somebody doing a hand signal on the side or however it works in college. I don't know how it works. I know in the NFL they got a little earpiece in their ear supposedly or in their helmet where they can get these plays in. But it's got to change. Something's got to change. And I was very excited, even though he almost broke his neck yesterday when Ty Simpson scrambled on in for a 2-point conversion. That was good. I was very excited about it. Showed that he wasn't scared to run the ball in there, even though it was designed. But he ran right up the gut, got that 2-point conversion, and poor head about snapped off his little shoulders over there. But we got the 2 points. But we should have never have went for it with a shotgun. Yep. That was a bad snap. Could have been under center, pushed him in, they'd have been up. It's things have got to change. Things have got to get better. They got to start meshing better. If not, it's going to be a long, long season, man. It's going to be a long, long season.
David, I appreciate the call, man. I'm going to move to my next caller, but do your thing and exit out the proper way.
All right, brother. God bless everyone. God bless this great country.
All right, man. Roll Tide to you, David. Thanks for calling. Stay safe behind enemy lines.
Definitely.
All right, man. That was David calling from Louisiana. Long-time caller. David's been calling in for 4 years. Because I started the show, I think 5 years ago. Last year I didn't do the show. I was working for On3 and I had a different role, but now this is what I like to do. I like to content create. I like to take the calls and I like to be here. So back doing what I like to do. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Call-in line is open, 205-850-1994. Got 2 calls inside the call queue. We got a 973 and a 910, and we'll just move it right along to the 973. Let's do it. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, Chris from New Jersey.
Chris, what's up, man? Good to hear from you again. I appreciate you calling in. Welcome to the show.
I said I would call you and apologize to you and Coach Sean and your after game show, but yeah. I can't do it, brother. And I'll tell you, listen, I hope I call you up every week that I'm wrong about Milroe all the way to the national championship. I just don't think he's the guy. And I'll tell you why I'm not going to bend the knee for you guys is because I listened to your pregame with you and Coach Sean and why he was so excited for the day. And I highly recommend anybody who hasn't listened to that, go back and listen to it because nothing that he was thinking transpired. We got on the 2-yard line. We got 3 points. We got inside the red zone. We threw a pick. Listen, I'll say this: something that not enough people are talking about is the reason why we had such a great game is because Pete Golding is no longer our defensive coordinator. What did that not look like a meltdown of Alabama in the fourth quarter, like it happened to us over and over and over again? Wow, man.
Yeah. Pete
but I'll say this:
Go ahead.
I thought, yeah. Did you notice how the ball moved when Dalcourt was out of the game? The running game excelled when he was out of there. I don't know was he injured or what happened, when they pulled Dalcourt out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Dalcourt, something happened to him. He got injured. He got, taken out there. And then, Alabama trying to take the sails out of the game. But, you put in TJ Ferguson, and I think the offense moves a little bit better with him, especially running the football. So that was kind of the update on
Amen.
Dalcourt. Yeah.
And another thing that you and I talked about is I watched him specifically, the freshman. He had a much better game, and he is. Everybody be patient. He's going to be a star, and you just got to give him some more time. So, listen, I'll be the first one to say, I'm so happy for the win, and I thank Jalen Milroe for the win. I just don't see it long term. But listen, like I said, I'll happily call you every week and admit that I was wrong. So for a victory. So
all right. Well, I look forward to your call next Sunday after Mississippi State.
Absolutely. All right, man. Keep up the great work and roll tide.
Roll tide to you, man. See ya. All right, that was Chris calling out from New Jersey. We got a 910 and a 205 inside the call queue. Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Do I read these? Yes. Levi. Yes, I read the comments. And I appreciate you guys being here. I want to also thank Joe Kroons for becoming a member of our YouTube channel. How do you become a member? Basically, you can hit the join button. On desktop, it works better. So when you go to Bama Football on YouTube, the homepage, you'll see a subscribe button. Hit subscribe, that's free. And then you can become a fan funder. That's becoming, you get membership to use different perks inside the comment box. If you're out there, you can show how many perks you can use. There's a different type of emojis and stuff like that. We will go back to the phone lines in just a second. Chris not happy about the quarterback play still. And I get it. There's going to be a lot of people who are just, they don't feel that this is going to be the guy to lead the team. But I'll tell you what, the team rallies behind Milroe. That is the leader of the team. And I thought there was a couple takeaways because I even heard frustration from people in the press box that I was in there, get rid of the football, throw the football. I think he is scared to make mistakes, but at the same point, he didn't make mistakes. He didn't force more bad balls than he should. The pass, that was an interception. That was a bad decision. There was probably other times where maybe it could have been an interception and he just ate it. And that's probably the confidence that he has within the defense because that defense is playing at such a high level that gives you confidence. And that gave the team the energy that they needed to move past Ole Miss, specifically in the second half. The way that they played in the second half, that's some of the best defensive football that I've seen from Alabama in a while. This team has the players, 100%. And Dallas Turner, when he's on fire, he's one of the best, if not the best defensive player in the entire country. We go back to the phone lines, 910. Let's start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
How you doing, Kyle?
Let's do this proper. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Yeah, this is Chris. I'm from Converse, Texas, or the Judson area over in Texas.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it before, man. I appreciate it. We went from Chris in New Jersey to Chris in San Antonio, the Judson area. Yeah, man. It's weird. Sometimes, the next caller will also be Chris. I think one time we went triple mics in a row. So, all right, double up on Chris from Texas, man. Take it away. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. I love this show, man. You do a terrific job every time you're on live. But my whole entire thing, that second half of Alabama, we're starting to pull it together. Definitely think that second half is a little more Alabama. Obviously, with the quarterback position, Jalen Milroe, we got a little bit of stuff we gotta we got to clean up. A lot of eye candy can trick him a little bit, so he's not always confident in what he sees. But I think he's coming along. Most people didn't expect for him to throw for over 200 yards, and he did that on 22 passes. So and two of them were pretty big chunk plays, but we always knew his deep ball was going to be good. As far as running, I think that second half we did a whole lot better. Giving more than two running backs, the ball, because even Jalen Milroe got in the game a little bit, So it's good to see that running game starting to gel a little bit more. But my thoughts on that offensive line, one thing that I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I'm not sure. I got to go back and watch film, but I'm pretty sure they put Caden Proctor at that right guard position a couple of times. And I think I like that a whole lot better than putting him at that left tackle position.
I'm going to have to go back and double check on that, Chris, but I'm going to write that down. And on my rewatch, which will be later on today, I will make note of that. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. Did anyone else notice that? Was that notated on any other websites that cover the team? So you're saying Caden at the guard position?
I'm pretty sure I seen 74 there. And I think it was when he pushed Jace McClellan into the the end zone.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure that's when he was as well.
All right. I'm writing that down. So
I don't know if he pulled him. Maybe he pulled him. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to notate that. I appreciate that, man. That would be an important piece of news because as they continue to, shift around and try to figure out the best suited offensive line, something needs to continue to improve in that regard. And I don't know if he's I don't know. I just have to see how it kind of looked in there and get more of a sample size because, like I said on my last caller, I do like Terrence Ferguson at that guard position. And then I don't know if Darian might be the best guy to put at center because, look, this team is a bad snap away from losing a football game. Like, that's how critical this could be.
Yeah.
This a bad snap never needs to happen again. Period. Like usually, like that, a bad snap happens like maybe like twice, 3 times a year, maybe. How many bad snaps? Honestly, if we were to go out and honestly count the bad snaps this season through 4 games, are there more than 10 bad snaps? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I've seen in every game we've seen at least one bad snap. Whether it's low, the Middle Tennessee game, Jalen Milroe took it and scored. The Texas game, low snap, miscues on snaps.
Yeah.
I've never seen a center false start twice in a game.
Yeah.
An important game at that.
Yeah.
Snapping the ball over the over the quarterback's head and then first and goal, boom. That was terrible because we ran 4 plays, negative 22 yards at first and 1 at the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to change because we're gonna hit a point where we're playing either at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, or even at Auburn. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna hit one of those games where we're gonna have to be Chris on a drive to end the game, and we cannot have that happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's lack of focus, lack of detail at that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we have to improve. I don't know who is the offensive line coach, but his job is probably on the hot seat right now because we cannot continue to have this.
Mm-hmm.
I do think special teams, they were outstanding. On kickoff coverage, those hits, and especially that block punt by Ja'Cory Brooks. He's always been a good player in that area. And then just defensively, that first touchdown, I don't know what we were doing, but I'm glad we got out of that defense because Alabama played lights out on defense. Besides, Jalen Key giving up a little bit of yards here and there.
And that's a tough that's a tough offense to deal with. Look, Jackson Dart, that guy was, number one, he can pass, and number two, he could throw. The guy was all over the field, and I thought in the beginning, and like you said, they made some good second half adjustments because there for a while, I was like, oh my goodness, like how many points is Ole Miss going to score in Alabama? The guy was, and there was, and look, in credit to Lane, we said this in the beginning, is that he can draw up some plays that are, I wish he was the offensive coordinator, and I'm sure a lot of Alabama fans do. because that guy can cook up some plays. I mean, look at the quarterback he has. I mean, Dart, I get it. He's a good passer, but they're just very creative. I'm not sure why Lane, I mean, it's just like he can cook up some plays 100%. What else you got for me?
As far as the game goes, that just basically the second half looked more like Alabama. But I will say this: the intensity on that defense has picked up a lot compared to that second week against Texas.
100%.
I think they're starting to communicate better. Caleb Downs he's playing a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for what's his name on the other side, Terrion Arnold catching the interception, I think Caleb might have got it as well. So, he's playing a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I do like these younger guys, man. I think they'll be good. I think it's going to take time. And I think about the time we hit Texas A&M, if Alabama can get out of that Texas A&M game undefeated in that stretch, I think Alabama will be okay. Because then they'll be battle-tested away from home and not just at home against pretty good competition. So I do think Ole Miss is an okay team. I don't think they're a great team, but I think it's a good stepping stone to learn from, because going up against Mississippi State, those cowbells are going to be loud, so communication is going to be key. At Texas A&M, that 12th man is rocking, so communication is going to be key. So these two away games coming up against these disgusting Maroon teams are going to be pretty good for Alabama and their confidence.
I appreciate the call in, Chris. Thank you for calling from Texas, man. I appreciate the feedback. You have really good context, man, so please call again.
Oh, for sure. Anytime, man. Anytime. Keep doing your thing, and, hey, peace be with you.
All right, man. Take it easy, buddy. All right, that was Chris calling in from Texas. He's actually calling in from the Judson area. If you know Converse Judson, they've always sent out elite high school football prospects. In my previous line of work, this is many years ago, like 12, 15 years ago, I used to go around the country to top high school football programs in the country as I worked for, you guys heard of the Elite 11? I used to work for the Elite 11 and also the Nike football training camps. So my job was, and at the time I was going to school in New Mexico State, I would fly out from El Paso, Texas, because Las Cruces doesn't have an airport, and I would go to Tallahassee, Athens, different parts of the country, and we would have these Nike football training camps. And the time I went to Texas, I actually stopped in College Station, and then we kind of drove around the surrounding areas. So I went to all these elite high school football programs. But anyways, that was in a past line. That's why I know the Converse Judson. Just random fact. I appreciate you guys inside the comment box. Sam, thank you very much for the feedback. You're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so I don't, and we'll get to, I got a 904 inside the call queue. I don't know what to do with this offensive line. Like, if I'm like, okay, let me ask you this. Who are the best 5 suited offensive linemen? If you follow the offensive line, do you keep Seth at center? Do you put maybe, because from what I understand, and I'll look at the depth chart that they handed out, is TJ Ferguson, could he be moved to center? But then who do you put at the guard position? Because you have, let's just say they keep Proctor at tackle. You have Booker at left guard. You have TJ Ferg at center. You're going to have to figure out who that guard is going to be. And then you have JC Latham. Who could that be? And is that the best matchup? Or do you just roll with Seth at center and you put TJ at that guard and you take Dalcourt out? Because it seems like the liabilities are Dalcourt and Seth, right? It just doesn't seem like those guys are playing at that elite level, and along with Proctor. So you kind of have 3 big issues. I don't know. We've been kind of going around and around about the offensive line. Can't seem to figure it out. And again, that's Wolford's job, not ours. But it's just like, what is going on? Because the missed snaps and guys getting pushed back is just not it. All right, 904, let's get it. Hey, thanks for calling. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Edward in Jacksonville.
Hey, Edward, I appreciate you joining the show, man. Welcome. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just, I hear some of the comments about Milroe, and it doesn't seem to jive with what I'm seeing. I think back, the season I think back to is 2011 with McCarron.
Okay.
That was his first year to start. And to me, Milroe, McCarron had a lower. He had fewer interceptions. He had 5 interceptions that first year that he played. He had 5 interceptions. So Milroe's obviously doing worse there. So his TD to interception ratio was better, but Milroe's throwing a lot more TDs. He's throwing more yards. His rating's higher. I don't remember everybody constantly doubting his ability to improve. And, of course, he did improve a lot in 2012, which was the year that they beat Notre Dame in the championship. And they beat LSU. By the end of that year against LSU in the Sugar Bowl, the 21-0 game, he was considerably better, but he was never as explosive. He never had the deep ball threat that Jalen has. So Jalen's a little more high risk, but as a young quarterback at a similar stage in his career, in my opinion, he looks just as good or better. And I don't remember all this hand-wringing with McCarron. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he threw 1 interception. It was a tricky coverage, and as Saban explained it, they kind of backpedal the guy back into a zone.
Mm-hmm.
It was from like a man-to-man to a zone, so It was kind of a weird thing there, and it fooled him, and he threw it. It was a big mistake, but it was 1 interception. McCarron had 5 his first year, so of course, we're pacing more than that. But I just don't. It's like this guy's obviously improving. He's obviously improving. He has no competition on the roster that has proven anything. And at this point, I think we ought to just kind of let him. I think the guy's going to get better and better. I really do. I think he's already getting better.
Edward, I think that the thing that gives me confidence with Jalen Milroe is with Saban now naming him the starter and saying the cake is baked and no more waffling, kind of going back and forth and kind of riding with him, so to speak, that gives Milroe confidence, but it gives the entire team confidence because they now know this is our guy and this is what he's capable of. And there's no denying that when Jalen Milroe throws a deep ball, it's been successful this season thus far. Also, when he runs the football, he's 1 tackle away.
I think he just needs some seasoning.
Yeah. I mean, and look, he doesn't. What is this? So if we count back, so he's started in 1, 2, 3 games, right? And so 4 games, really. He's a 4-game starter because he started against Texas A&M last year. He didn't start against Arkansas. He came in midway for Arkansas, and he started, 3 games this season? So, I mean, that's not a lot of experience, but he needs more experience, and I think that is going to because if you look at the stats yesterday, what was he, 17 to 21? Like, the interception sucked. I get it. But, I mean, he had 225 yards passing and a touchdown. I mean, the numbers aren't terrible by any stretch. Oh, I think we got disconnected one more time. Hey, hang on, caller. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Give me 2 seconds. Hang on, Mike from Jacksonville.
Thank you for calling.
All right. Yeah. Are we still online, Edward? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right. My bad. Sorry. This is the internet, so you never know what's going to happen. I don't control the internet. The internet controls itself and all the technicalities that go along with it. Literally, I'm up in my office and I'm, I live in a normal house like everyone else, and the internet sometimes cuts in. It's the same stuff, It's that's why, because I used to stress out about that type of stuff, but it happens. So whatever. But like I was saying, I think my point was Coach Saban's confidence in Jalen Milroe is going to spill over to confidence within Milroe into within the team. Make another point, Edward, before we move to our next caller.
Oh, yeah. The only other thing is people keep saying, that the coordinator needs to adapt to what he is and what he's capable of. He needs to be more running plays, RPOs, this kind of stuff. And that's true, but at this stage of the game, I think the guy can develop into a drop back, pocket passer. I'm not saying he shouldn't utilize his skills, his speed and all that, but there's nothing that tells me this guy can't be a drop back passer. Not at this stage. Not with 3 or 4 games of experience. Not with what I've seen at Alabama. And I've been watching Alabama since my first game was 69. Watching them against Archie Manning, and I've seen a lot of quarterbacks, and I would rather have Milroe over half of those quarterbacks that we've had. And Milroe can be. We don't need to just turn this guy into a gimmicky running quarterback. We need to implement that, but we also need to give this guy a chance to develop as a drop back passer because he has the tools to do it. I think he has the mind to do it. He just needs the reps. Just like McCarron needed the reps, and McCarron couldn't see anything, and McCarron left receivers open, and he did all the things Milroe's doing. He just wasn't he didn't take some of the chances Milroe took. Back then, Saban had him on a tight leash, and it's like he was not going to throw into coverage at all, so he had fewer interceptions. But to write this guy off and say he's never going to be able to be a drop back passer and there's no evidence of that at all. The guy's improving every week, so that's all I had to say.
Yeah, well, I think you bring up some really great points, and I think what you did for me is kind of remind me that it is a small sample size that we're working off of with Jalen Milroe, right? He's like kind of thrown into the fire and to lead this team, and he doesn't have a large sample size of playing time, but each week he does seem to be progressing. I mean, was he better in this game than against Texas? 100%. Was it a different caliber team from Texas to Ole Miss? Yeah, but I mean, still SEC team. Look, Ole Miss was good. That's a good football team. They're going to win many more games this season, and the coach is great. I know people have their own thoughts about Pete Golding, but that was a good team. It was a great win. I think it gives them a lot of momentum. Edward, thank you very much for calling in, and please call again next time.
Thank you.
I like that call, to be honest, because he's improving 100%, and it's a small sample size. And what did I say? Is it 4 games that he started? So he started against Middle, he started against Texas, and he started against Ole Miss. It's 3 games. Last season started against Texas A&M. It's 4 games. 3 this season with new weapons around him. Someone in the comment box I was reading the play of Jalen Hell, right? My goodness. That was came up with 2 great catches yesterday. 1 for a touchdown. I like to see those young guys get in and create value for themselves and coming up in big-time games. SEC, that was a really big game. Coming up in big-time games. I mean, and he's kind of one of the players that I'm bringing up a photo of him now. You almost kind of have to look down to the roster sheet because you're like, okay, who was that caught that? And Jalen Hell comes through yesterday in a big way for Alabama. We go to the phone lines at the 256 to start it. Hey, I appreciate you calling in.
Hello.
Yeah, who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Levi, and I'm calling in from Jacksonville, Alabama.
Hey, Levi, I appreciate it. We went from Jacksonville, Florida to Jackson, Alabama. What's on your mind, man? Take it away.
I'm just calling in about the defense. I think the defense has changed a lot with what they do with inside the box. Like, if you notice, we ran a lot of nickel when Pete Golding was there, and we had a really weak inside of the field. Teams would just take advantage and gash us with inside zones, HB guts, all of this inside stuff. Well, I feel like this year, Kevin still loves to put an extra guy inside the box in the 3-4 scheme instead of so much of the nickel scheme. So there is going to be no, like, running the ball to create passing on us, which I think is really well for what we want to do this year.
Yeah, I think I've been really happy so far from what I've seen from the interior linebacker play. Now, I can't believe that we haven't talked about this earlier. On with Levi from Jacksonville, Alabama. I'm sure you caught this, Levi. In Coach Saban's press conference, Deonte Lawson is going to be out for, Coach Saban said, sometime with a bad ankle sprain. The good news is that Jahad Campbell played at a high level, but Deonte Lawson is a key contributor for this team, 100%, is a key contributor for this Alabama team. In fact, coming into this game, I believe he was the highest ranked player on Alabama's team for Pro Football Focus. They're going to have to lean on Trez Marshall, Jahad Campbell. Saw Kendrick Blackshire make a play last night. So that's good to see. So they do have some depth there, but Deonte Lawson is going to be missed probably this next game. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. But I do like what you said in terms of how they are utilizing kind of that front seven and what they're doing, kind of rotating players in and kind of the schematics of it, because the defense, and I think they have made some adjustments too, because you look kind of how they transformed from Texas to this last game. And I don't know, maybe Lane Kiffin's right. Maybe Coach Saban is kind of, has his hand on the pulse a little bit more, but you just can't deny with what you saw from that second half play from the linebackers to the secondary. The secondary played phenomenal yesterday as well. It was just such a great performance. What else you got, Levi?
Yeah, about the secondary, I also think that Malachi Moore has taken control. Like, he is a very good play caller on the back end now, and he's taken control of, like, his leadership role and done it very well. Like, I did not expect him to come into this season flying around. He's everywhere where the ball is at. And another thing, there's a young guy on the defensive line that I really like. I believe his last name is Keenan, or first name, I'm not sure. But
so
his big number 96.
So that is Tim Keenan. So I'm glad you brought this up, because yesterday, so Tim Keenan, I don't have the roster right in front of me right now, but he's got to be at least like 340. So maybe like 320 to 340. He's a DT, and he's from Birmingham. And when he first got here, he was like, I don't know, 370. He was huge. He was way out of shape. Then he had a knee issue. Yesterday, I saw him chase down Jackson Dart and was like a shoestring away from catching him in the backfield. That's number 96. Levi, thank you so much for bringing up Keenan's name, because this young man is exceptional. And I mean, he was just like a shoestring away. So my point is, for someone that big to be chasing on a quarterback, like, that's the type of athleticism that you want from those big dogs in the trenches. But continue on, Keenan. Mm-hmm. Thank you for bringing him up.
And then offense-wise, a lot of people love the 12 personnel stuff with the two tight ends. Like, a lot of people love it. But I really like a one tight end set, and I like a lot of, like, zone read and read option. I know they bring a lot of defenders up in the box, but we sometimes make them pay for it. But I really do like four wide with our receivers, because I think our receiver room is really deep this year, like one of the deepest in the country. People want to, like, I don't know what the problem is exactly, but talent-wise, our receivers should be right there with the best. And then one question before I get off here. Who is number 44 on the defense?
44 on the defense. Let me check that out real quick.
He's a dog, too. Like, he played a bunch yesterday on that D-line, and I don't know who we're rotating on D-line, but these guys are, like I said, it's more of a 3-4 with three big defensive linemen.
Oh, so that's going to be Damon Payne. That's who that is. Damon Payne.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, John.
Well,
I appreciate you guys knowing that. Damon Payne, everybody giving you some good feedback on that. Yeah. I do like the rotation. Yeah. So it's good to see Dexter. Yeah. Everyone, I appreciate you guys. John knew it, Sam knew it, John knew it, and so did Dexter. I appreciate you guys. Levi, great call. Honestly, I think like that defense, what they're doing right now, playing at a high level, getting some of those guys rotating in. It's good to see some new names kind of floating up and playing them at a high level. Tim Keenan, thank you so much for bringing him up. And same thing for Damon Payne. And then I know you guys saw Kendrick Blackshire out there making some plays. He's there. He's ready, clearly. And then Jahad Campbell.
I really like him.
Yeah, and then Jahad Campbell, they did review that clip where they thought it was targeting. I wasn't on the TV broadcast. I don't know what they were saying. But the way that Jackson Dart came into that, like, what are you going to do? Like, Campbell was trying to tackle him, and it's kind of like a bang bang how it happens. That was the one where, like, I think his hair kind of like flipped back. Now, Jam Miller, that was targeting. You know, you have a running back on special teams. I get it, but good to see that Campbell wasn't called for targeting. Any last point, Levi, before I move to our next caller?
One point that you made earlier about the inside linebackers and Campbell and everything, I feel like that this linebacker group is more of like they're a bunch of dogs in a doghouse. Mm-hmm. They're not worried about everything else going on. They're worried about their job compared to, I don't want to say Henry To'oTo'o or whatever, or whoever was there last year, but I feel like these core group of guys play as a team more than anyone we've had in the past 4 or 5 years on defense.
Yeah, I like this group. I really do. I think Saban does too. And the great thing about it is, like, as I was mentioning earlier in the show, I don't think that this team has even reached close to the ceiling. Honestly, I don't. I think they're still trying to, find themselves as a team. And sometimes finding yourself later on is better than early on, right? I mean, you can lose early in college football, but it's better to find yourself throughout. Maybe that Texas game was what this team needed. So was the South Florida game. And it's a good story to track. I think that win against Ole Miss gives this team a lot of momentum. You got to play 4 quarters. They haven't done that thus far. They're capable of doing that. They have a hell of a schedule coming up. It's going to be tough. It's a gauntlet. There's no easy way around it. As I said earlier in the show, that bye week comes at a perfect time. We'll take one more look at the schedule because it's going to be very challenging. I mean, that game against Mississippi State, you can't let that be a trap game and think that you're just going to go to Stark Vegas and just kind of roll over the Bulldogs. I mean, it's another SEC game, and then you have on the road at Texas A&M. They had a big win yesterday. You go to Kyle Field in front of 100,000 people. Jimbo Fisher is going to have them amped up. You have Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks and a very quality quarterback coming to Tuscaloosa for homecoming. You have Tennessee, who was able to beat Alabama last year, coming to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then you're open, which is at a perfect time before you take on LSU. Then travel to Lexington to take on Kentucky, Chattanooga, and then Auburn.
That's going to be the crazy one.
Hell yeah. This is a tough schedule. There's no way about it. I mean, the next game up is Mississippi State, but when you looked on the schedule, that's a very challenging schedule. And, plenty of time right now for Alabama to continue to focus on 4 quarters of football. Haven't done it yet, but I appreciate you calling in, Levi. Please call again next time.
Thank you for having me, Kyle.
All right, man. Take it easy, buddy. All right. I will catch you guys tonight on the Sunday show. And you're right, RIP to Coach Leach. College football is not the same without him. Appreciate you guys joining me for the Sunday AM call in show. I will be back tonight. Do it at, I think we go at 7. We go at 7 or 6. I'll schedule out the show. So let's do 6 to 8 p.m. tonight right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me for this morning show to talk about what we learned following Alabama's 24-10 victory over Ole Miss. From beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me. Tonight, coming to you on Sunday, September 24, 2023, Alabama defeats Ole Miss 24-10. It was a win that I think catapults this team on the right trajectory. It was a win that I think helps this team get their mind right. It was a win that garnered people's attention. What's up, Jarvis? I see you in the comment box. Let's go. So tomorrow, here's the schedule. And here are things that might happen on the show. We already have a caller that is called in, 205-850-1994. But here's what might happen on the show. Common things that might happen because we live in the world of the internet. If I somehow lose connection, I will hit the pause button and I will reconnect and then I will come back on. Okay? What's up, DeMarco? It's been a minute, man. Hope you call in. That might happen. We won't freak out. We will handle it. Everything will be okay. The schedule for Monday reads like this. I got a media availability. What is a media availability? That means that we have an opportunity to speak to a coach, a player, or 2 coaches. So what does that mean, Kyle? Well, tomorrow at 10:15, I'll be able to watch the Alabama basketball team for 15 minutes. And I know this is Bama football on YouTube. So what I'm going to do, and I've never done this in my career, is I've never really given the coverage to basketball that they deserve. Since I now run the channel, I'm going to give you coverage on Alabama basketball. Channel's going to be the same. We're just going to add basketball when basketball season comes. I don't think there's really been anyone in this space to give basketball that high level detail. Last year, they were number 1. There was a lot of times that I felt I should be covering the Nate Oates press conference or talking to the players. That's going to happen this year. It is still, football is going to drive the channel, but basketball, when in season and when available, I'm going to bring that to the channel. So at 10:15, I will have basketball practice footage, and then I will have the Nate Oates press conference. And then from there, I will head on over and talk to Nick Saban for his 12 p.m. press conference. And then after that, you will hear from Jalen Milroe. So you have Nate Oates, Nick Saban, Jalen Milroe. So it's a busy day on Monday, and then got some more special things lined up later on Monday afternoon. And then Monday night is the coaches show. You got Coach Smook, you got Coach Jarek, and you got Coach Sean. Tonight is the call-in show, 205-850-1994. What we do on the call-in show is you call in, you give me your take about Alabama football, we rap, we chop it up, and I appreciate you guys being here. I think this was a monumental win, honestly. And I know that's a big word to use for the 4th game of the season, but you had to win. You had to win that game. There was no way that you could lose to Lane Kiffin. There was no way that you could lose consecutive games at Bryant-Denny Stadium. A loss would have been monumental. A loss would have derailed this team. That was a big win, and the guys played really well. We go to our first caller of the night, and it's a 256. Let's get it. Are you on the line with Kyle Henderson? Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
How you doing, Kyle? This is Boots.
Hey, what's up,
Lake
Boots?
Gunnersville.
You're the first in line, man. Yeah, good to hear from you. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
I tell you what, it worked out about like we thought. I know Jalen was going to be a little rusty out of having a week off, so it took him a minute to get going. But I think we're back rolling now. But one thing I like to say is, if you look back, Kyle, into all the quarters we've played, the 4th quarter of the Texas game, the only game, and they've been on the field all day. This defense is good. Now, when they blitz, and that's the thing. Did you see them, Kyle bringing 6, 7? That's what you do. Don't let no. If a guy can throw, you can't do that. I mean, you just actually can't. You got to put pressure on him. So you see how that worked out. Now they can't go down at Mississippi State thinking that boy that won't cut them apart, because he will. And they need to get in there on him. And any word about that Lawson?
Yeah,
kid,
so
is he gonna be okay?
So that's and we're on with Boots from Lake Gunnersville. I appreciate you guys checking in. What's up to everybody inside the comment box? Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. I see you, Jim. I see you, Jackie, Eli, Kyle Banks. What's up? Nice name, Kyle Banks. So Boots is asking about Deonte Lawson. Deonte Lawson, very talented inside linebacker for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, the detail on him from Coach Saban last night was that basically he has a high ankle sprain and he's going to be out for some time. What does some time mean? I don't know. The reason I would be optimistic when you're talking about a high ankle sprain is that Jeff Allen and the Bama Sports and Science Center that Alabama has right next to the football center does miraculous things. They're able to, it's not like you or I or somebody else gets a high ankle sprain. That takes a long time. They have state-of-the-art facilities to get these players good and to go. So high ankle sprain, I don't like it. But I think that he's going to be out against Mississippi State. Again, I don't know that for sure, but probably knowing a high ankle sprain. Subbing in for him would probably be Jahad Campbell, Trezor Marshall, and Kendrick Blackshire, who I thought played fantastic. So there's a lot of guys in that inside linebacker room that can really step up in place of Deonte Lawson. but you can't replace him. He's too good. He's the signal caller of the defense. It will be tough on the defense not to have him against Mississippi State, but their guys will be able to step up behind him. What else you got, Boots?
Well, shoot, that old number 30 there that we had, that number 30 Kyle looks pretty good now. Now, listen, I hope to see you down at old Stark Vegas. I was going to try to arrive Friday about 12, but my wife got to work, so I'm going to be down there probably about 6 that afternoon.
Yeah, well, the game's at
I know you going.
The game's at.
It's in Stark Vegas. Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Stark Vegas, and it's late too.
Yeah, that's okay. yeah, but I'll be down there at 6 o'clock Friday. So I like to do the tailgating that morning. So we'll get up and go eat breakfast and go over to the stadium and talk crap to them until they can't take it, and then go in there and beat them down.
Yep.
Then go in there and beat them down. But anyway, Kyle. Are you going to be at the game? Or
you know what?
Are you going to be able to beat?
I'm going to make a game time decision for Stark Vegas. So I have a beautiful 10-year-old daughter that'll be with me. So it's a late game. So I try not to miss any of the games, but sometimes if it's late and I got my kids, so I might have to make a game time decision. So Boots, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll catch up with you next time. Enjoy Stark Vegas. All right, Boots might have to do if Boots is going, he might have to do the post-game rap for me, right? You guys cover the game. You guys call in. All right, we got a super chat in. I can live. This is from Jarrell Franklin. I can live with the play of Milroe. He's going to make mistakes, but we just need everyone around him to play good. Less penalties and mental errors. The game should have been at least 35-10. I appreciate the super chat, first of all. Thank you very much. I think when you look to the penalties that this team has had, I think they have been what Saban calls drive killers. And you have to eliminate those drive killers because they take points off the board. And you had 10 points taken off the board against Texas. And you had, let's call it, 4 points taken off the board against Ole Miss. And what I say about that is they got a field goal when it should have been a touchdown. Jalen Milroe should have just been able to fall into the end zone, but there was a missed snap. There's been a couple penalties on this team. How many touchdowns? 5 touchdowns have been taken away from this team this year. 5 touchdowns in 4 games. So those things certainly need to be addressed, cleaned up. And like I said earlier, that this team has not played 4 quarters of football by any means. We got new members in the house. Bama Man 76, thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member and live life large. I like that username. How do you become a member of this YouTube channel? You go to the homepage, Bama Football on YouTube, and you hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button, and we appreciate it. There's different levels, and we appreciate you guys being here. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We got a 470 on, and we'll take it right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, baby? We've finally been able to connect, man. It's been a minute. It's DeMarco, man.
Hey, what's up, DeMarco? I appreciate you, man. So DeMarco is a long-time caller. DeMarco has seen the channel grow up and down, and DeMarco hit me up this morning. He was like, hey, what time are you going live? And I originally thought to go live at 9 this morning, and then I changed it to 10. So DeMarco, I appreciate you joining the evening show. There's a lot to talk about. Alabama now 3-1 going into their second SEC game against Mississippi State. Take it away.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely been a long time coming. I love seeing the show with Mick and all the folks, and I love to kind of see the direction you're taking it, the way you're handling the practices. We didn't really get a lot of that to the nature in which you're delivering it now. I know you kind of did a lot of recap stuff, a lot of recruiting kind of intel. We kind of had that in there with Boone and others, but I'm really liking how you're kind of doing it all. So continue to do that. And I did love the basketball coverage as well. So hopefully that keeps going. But, as we talk about the football team, a couple of major things. Number one is, I don't like when I watch games and I hear commentators say, well, penalties and certain things are uncharacteristic of Alabama. And I say, well, Yeah, if you juxtapose that against the last 10 to 15 years, you could say that. But it's all about what have you done for me lately. And then for the last 3 years, the things that we're seeing on the field, they are characteristic of Alabama. We aren't able to disposition a guy from the start of the line of scrimmage. We aren't able to consistently play a game without being penalized. So that is within our characteristics. That is what we've shown our fans. That's what we showed our opponents. And so I think that is something that needs to be addressed moving forward. And, it's easier said than done. Obviously, this is a different type of generation. This is a different type of athlete. This isn't the guys of old. I mean, look at the guys. They're out there with green mouthpieces, neon-colored mouthpieces that aren't even in. Back in the day, those mouthpieces were black, white, maybe crimson. They were in. You know what I mean? You guys were physical, played through the whistle, but they played with emotion, but they weren't emotional players. And I think guys figured out what they needed to do day in and day out to continue to add value in a positive manner for themselves and for the program and things of that sort. So that's the first thing I wanted to kind of mention. I think the other thing is that's kind of challenging is I don't think up front on either side we're where we want to be. I don't think it's a stretch to say Dallas Turner isn't quite what we built him to be, given what we saw last season and in flashes before that. And some of that is just because he had a monster on the other side. So that person took up so much attention that he maybe got more favorable matchups. But he flashed a lot last year, and through 3 or so games against relatively okay competition, like even against Texas, I didn't see a single lineman on Texas's offensive line that I felt like could single-handedly handle Dallas Turner all game long. And they made some strategic things with getting the ball out, but he hasn't quite been what I thought he was going to be. Chris Braswell and others haven't quite been there, but I'm impressed with what I see on the back end. I am impressed with the physicality, the way the defense flies around. I think they're missing that pass rush thing that we kind of need to get going. So that's there as well. And then obviously the elephant in the room, no pun intended, Jalen Milroe. I mean, let's just call it like it is. He played okay Saturday, but watching Jalen Milroe and this team is like watching a crop duster try to ascend and level itself out. It's fucking terrible. I mean, but if you watch a Boeing 757 take off and level itself out once it gets to cruising altitude, it's good. It's fine. I think we're like a crop duster right now, trying to get up and going. And I think we got some ways to go. Those are my first three things. What are you thinking there, Kyle? And, we'll talk on a couple other things real quick.
Yeah, well, I think, a couple points. Like the whole mouthpieces and like kind of the disarray and stuff like that doesn't really bother me. I think that this team is trying to find its own identity within itself. And I think that is starting to formulate a little bit better. And I think the reason that people were kind of nitpicking at that stuff is because this team was performing poorly. So you start to make things scapegoats, right? You start to point fingers at things that might not even be, attributed to what's on the field play, right? And that was just poor execution in that second part of the game. Dallas Turner, I disagree with your assessment because I think he didn't perform to the standard against Texas. Nobody did on the defensive side. Yes. And I don't know if I was kind of like the Jimmies and the Joes or the X's and O's up top, but something changed. And Lane Kiffin said it himself because he saw something different within the defense, and the defense completely changed in that second half of the Ole Miss game because Dallas Turner turned into an absolute lion. And his performance in the second half, as well as the whole defense, that was the defense that we've been looking for. And I think that defense that we saw in the second half gives me a lot of confidence in this team overall because the old adage, defense wins, whatever. Sure. But the point is this defense has showed signs in the second half that they can play to that level to win marquee games. Ole Miss, their offense is squirrely. They're dangerous. That quarterback's a menace. And if you can't stop Lane Kiffin early on, you're going to have trouble. That team's scoring. They were coming to that game scoring 52 points a game. That was fourth in the entire country. Dallas Turner had 3.5.
They did last season too.
That's what I'm saying. Dallas Turner had 3.5 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
He had 2 sacks. The entire team had 8 quarterback hurries, and they had 5 sacks. That is upwards. That is trajectory that is going upwards.
Yeah.
So, but this is it, DeMarco. Which team is going to show up against Mississippi State? Which team is going to show up against Texas A&M? They have not played an entire 4 quarters. That's why I'm optimistic as well, because I think that they can. And when they do put 4 quarters of play, it's going to be a team that is very difficult to beat for anybody in the country should that offense catch fire. Your other point regarding Milroe.
Yes.
Look, Milroe, I think that what we saw from him on Saturday against Ole Miss was a big step forward. And I'll tell you why. I think that that interception should not have happened, right? That was a forced pass, and Coach Saban even said that Ole Miss did some different coverage where they're underneath, and that was confusing. But we all know, like, he shouldn't have thrown the ball. Period. Like, the 3 interceptions are terrible interceptions. Nobody is going to justify any of those interceptions. However, the kid continues to stay. He stayed in the pocket in the second half, and he made 2 marquee throws. The one to Jermaine Burton, that was a great throw, and I'm glad that they finally took a shot downfield. And then his touchdown pass to Jalen Hale was great. That was big time. And when you're going to contribute at a high level in college football, you got to be able to stay in the pocket and make that big time throw. Those are things that he has done very well, and his deep ball has been really, really, really good. The intermediate stuff, hopefully that can get fixed. And if he finds a way to get some rhythm and, maybe there's more creativity to where he can start to improve, he's going to be a very dangerous quarterback because he's one tackle away from breaking an 80-yard run every single time he takes off. With that said, I don't think he forced too many bad balls on Saturday, and his efficiency rating was really, really good. Make a couple more points, DeMarco, because I got other people in the call queue.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. I think what we saw from I like the play calling a little bit better from Tommy Rees in terms of, hey, just direct snap it, power run it. Let's run the quarterback draw. Let's let him do some things that he's kind of great at doing. And, let him ease his way in and get comfortable. I think the reason he struggles with the intermediate throws is because there's a lot of things you have to anticipate and kind of understand advantage throws and things of that nature. And when he had a very simple one on the left in the end zone, he threw the pick. It's simple. Jermaine Burton's in the flat. I mean, you put that ball, that upfield shoulder going towards the sideline, carry him out of bounds if you have to. It's a 3-4 yard, 5 yard completion. We're good. You force it, they're running the trap underneath, you force it into 2 for what reason? So I think when he's got to do over processing, it makes it challenging. The reason why I think he has success on the deep ball is because it's clear. It's drawn up. This is a shot. This is the guy we're throwing the ball to. We've seen it. We've set it up. This is the throw. So it allows him to just kind of put it out there and let a guy run underneath it. So I think that's why he has success there. The other reason why I think we have some inconsistent success when we run the football in particular is because the defense is like, hey, if they're not going to really throw the football, let's force pressure in the box with the run game. And I think our offensive line, they're better in run blocking than pass blocking. I think they're just a little big, a little heavy. Caden's big, and Latham's big. So I think they do better when it's time to just move a man and run blocking, which I think is what they've really been talking about all season that they would prefer to do. And it sounds like that's what their strength is. However, when it's time to pass block, whether it's Jalen not picking up on certain blitzes and what the defense is doing, or them just not communicating, we don't seem to have a lot of success. And again, like you touched on a big point earlier, some of this could be schematic because something happened in that second half. And you're right, Dallas did flip a switch. But just through those first couple of games, and maybe that's why Lane said what he said, it was like we played, 2-3 games, we had no sacks. No sacks. I mean, that we couldn't even touch Quinn Ewers, and yet they were all over us. But I never felt like Texas offensive or defensive line was a whole level above ours. Like I never got that feeling, so I was confused, a little perplexed as to why we didn't have some success. But overall, I like what I saw from the defense. Really, even in the Texas game, I didn't think that the defense did anything throughout this season that made me have concern. I think we, got a little sloppy. Tyrion Arnold got a little sloppy in the Texas game. He was beat a couple of times. But I like our defense. Our offense, I think, is a work in progress. But we got some threats on the outside. We got to use them. We got to keep the ball on the ground. Jalen Milroe will be out the first half of next week. So let's see how that shakes out. I'd love to see Kendrick Blackshire get in there at the linebacker spot. And Amari Black, I'd like to see him keep progressing. And then shout out to the kicking game and special teams. Like that was a pinch point for us, and now no one even talks about it. It's like Will Riker goes out there and we think it's automatic now. He's just that damn good. So
hey, I appreciate you calling in, DeMarco. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Calling again next time. All right.
All right, brother.
All right, real talk to you, man. All right. DeMarco from the ATL calling in to lead off the show. Actually, it was Boots that called in from Lake Guntersville. So we went from Lake Guntersville all the way to Atlanta. What's up? It's Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Hey, did you guys see that the Dolphins scored 70 points today? That they beat Denver 70-20? Who was on the sticks, right? Did you see that? I was just looking up Tua's stats. So Tua threw he was 23 of 26. Jeez. 309 yards with 4 touchdowns. I mean, let's see. Tyreek had 157 yards at 9 receptions. Mostert, former 49er, I had to throw that in. 7 receptions for 60 yards. Man, that's crazy. That was without Waddle, right? Yeah, crazy. 70 points. That's unbelievable. Dolphins, man. And remember they were saying like Tua couldn't throw the deep ball or whatever? I'm telling you what. You guys remember. I'll get to my callers in just a second. When Tua was here and he threw the deep ball, it was like a little angel had thrown the ball. Like I'd never seen such touch on a pass before, right? Mac was different. Mac could control the game. He had some good zip on it. He was sleepy, athletic. Tua just threw like this incredible ball. Jalen was just a baller. And then Bryce was just the ninja back there, right? And was like just incredible run. And now you got Jalen Milroe taking on. What will be his legacy? All right, we go back to the phone lines. 615, let's get it. I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, hey, what's going on, man? This is David from Nashville. How are you?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling this evening. I was just talking about Tua posting 70 on the Broncos. Milroe has a solid showing. Alabama back on track. This week they take on Mississippi State. I didn't see a line. What's the line for Mississippi, Alabama? Post it in the comment box, please, if you see it. All right, fam. We're on with David from Nashville. Take it away.
No, man, I just, and by the way, no joke, there's somebody shooting fireworks for reasons I have no idea why. So if it sounds like gunshots are going off around me, it's not, it's fireworks.
It's the USA, man. You just light fireworks whenever you want. Just celebrate.
That's right. I love it. Now, so I was like, of course, as soon as you click over to me. Hey, no, I was gonna mention this, and I wanted to run this question by you. So, in like movies and TV shows where the main character, it's kind of an old writing trope, right? Like your main character gets knocked up in the head or gets some kind of bad injury, and they get amnesia, and they don't know who they are. They don't know who anyone is. They act completely, and it's usually they act the total opposite of the way they normally act. And everybody's worried, and you just go, are they ever going to be the same again? And then something always happens. There's usually a second thing. They get hit in the head again, or something else happens, some life-changing event. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they like remember who they are, and they just start acting exactly the way they used to act. That is exactly what I feel happened yesterday to Alabama. It is like, the line, oh gosh, what is it? It's like in Family Vacation, where it's like the kid gets kicked by a mule. It's he got kicked again, and they went right back. That's exactly what I feel like happened. It's like, we got kicked in the head a second time. It's like, I remember who we are now.
Clark Griswold, but what it was Uncle Eddie.
Oh, is their eyes
Uncle
used
Eddie,
to be crossed, like the kids' eyes used to be crossed?
Yeah. Look, just as I was talking with DeMarco, and we're on with David from Nashville. By the way, Jarvis, I appreciate it, man. 12.5 Alabama favored, so almost by 2 touchdowns going to Stark Vegas. Just as I was talking to DeMarco, something changed at halftime. I don't know if Coach Saban got
That's what I'm saying. What
I don't know if Coach Saban got
the kick in the head?
I don't know if he got on that water bottle. Did you guys see he got on that water jug? There's that picture floating around where he's on the top of that water jug and the guy behind him is holding that water jug as he's giving like a Newt Rockney speech. The guy behind it is actually you got to see the photo. But the guy holding it is Ellis Ponder, who's the football operations director. And somebody subtweeted, they're like, what a stressful job is like holding this. It's like a Gatorade. It's an orange Gatorade jug that you're holding, right? And Saban's on top of it. And Saban's like pointing at the team. I don't know what happened at halftime, but something changed. And this team woke up, because when this team came out in that second half, it was do or die. And they played like it was do or die. And they played like this was a team that finally wanted to win. It was a team that finally looked like Alabama. It was a team worth getting excited about. There was glimpses of greatness on defense. There was big plays on offense. That team plays like they did in that second half. Who's going to beat them on the rest of the schedule through the regular season? They're going to go really far. They're going to be very difficult to deal with. The problem is we just don't know which team. Look, I do know which team is going to show up, but can they put together 4 quarters consecutively of really good football? And that is something that they haven't done. The first and the second quarter throughout the last 3 weeks have been terrible. 6 points against Texas, 3 points against South Florida, and then 6 points against Ole Miss. So that has to change. I think it is going to change. You're going to probably see that be a difference against Mississippi State, but they need to put together 4 quarters if they want to continue to play at a high level of football. But yesterday against Ole Miss, I think that was a great start. What else you got, David?
Exactly. Well, no, and you said it right. To be more specific, you said which team is going to show up. I would go further. I would say which offense is going to show up, because I've actually heard a couple, 2 or 3 times yesterday, commentators and people be like, wow, the defense really just came out of nowhere in the second half. I'm like, what do you mean it came out of nowhere? The defense has been playing for the most part.
That's true.
Lights out. The defensive line has been kind of off and on, but for the most part, the defense has been playing great all season long. The defense has not been our problem. It's been the offense. But I do think, and I don't know what you feel about this, but this is just kind of my thought. I think it would be best for all of us, like Alabama fans. I think the best thing we could do now is just stop talking about the quarterbacks. I really think, I think somewhere along the line, people kind of drew a line, and it was either, well, I'm for Jalen Milroe, and I know what I'm talking about, and here's why I know what I'm talking about. Or people were like, Jalen Milroe's garbage, Ty Simpson should be in, and I know what I'm talking about. And so it's almost like, well, if Milroe does great, all the people who support Milroe are like, see, there you go. And then if Milroe throws a bad pass, or if Ty Simpson does something great, then it's there. And it's almost like people are, I don't want to overstate it, but it's almost like people's pride is on the line, depending on which quarterback does well or does poorly, or who. And then it's like, hey, did anybody forget that we're all kind of pulling for the same team? I just think at some point, we just need to be quiet talking about the quarterbacks. Go, yep, Jalen Milroe is we all know who's good and who's strong at what. We all know who has potential at what. We know what the circumstances are. Let's just support whoever's in there. Right now it's Jalen Milroe. Go Jalen Milroe. And let's just stop talking about it and just support the team as a whole. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I appreciate the point. And I think to add on to that, it's hard to be critical of Coach Saban, right? I mean, you looked at every single thing that he's done, it works. What he's doing right now is working. But in my opinion, I feel like he mismanaged the whole quarterback dilemma, whatever, in the fall camp. And maybe the cake needed to be baked or whatever, but I feel that naming a quarterback would have helped add some early season identity to this team, potentially even beat Texas, because I think Jalen was looking over his shoulder, scared to even make a mistake. And I think the fans were kind of feeding off that, where absolutely now they know who the quarterback is. You know who your ride or die is going to be. But I think it did create a lot of division, something that we haven't seen here. I don't know if the quarterbacks weren't ready. I don't know if it was kind of a roster management situation just because of NIL and players getting mad and complaining, whatever. Someday we'll know when Alabama does their Netflix, right? Kind of like the Bulls, The Last Dance, and we're watching it at home. We'll be like, oh yeah, so that's what happened. That's why he had those 3 quarterbacks play. And Saban will be smoking a cigar. Miss Terry will be bringing him a little Debbie, and he'll be looking at the iPad and be like, oh yeah, I remember. Well, listen, this is what really happened. Jalen Milroe came in We'll never know for right now, but they have a quarterback. It's time to everybody to support that quarterback, and they're going to win football games with that defense. And as this offense continues to find itself, Alabama is going to be tough to beat. Big win. David, I appreciate you calling in from Nashville. Thank you very much for your continued support, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, man. Good to talk to you.
All right. David calling in from Nashville. We got a 608, a 615, and a 614. We'll take those coming up right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you guys could hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, I really appreciate it. To run you guys down the schedule for Monday, you got basketball highlights. 15 minutes of practice footage will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, followed by Nate Oates talking about the Alabama basketball team. Should be good. Look, Nate Oates is not afraid to tell you what he thinks. It's a really good press conference. So I'll upload to that, and then Coach Saban will be at 12 p.m. And then right after Coach Saban, you will have Jalen Milroe. So there's going to be some great coverage on Monday going into that Mississippi State game. Jarvis just said that Alabama is favored by 12.5 going into that that Mississippi State game. And where was Alabama ranked? I got busy. I put up some Halloween decorations today. I know when you guys said it was too early, and I asked you guys in the comment box, is it too early? But my next door neighbor, he's going ham. His whole thing is like lit. I'm going more subtle this year. I'm doing one large, kind of like evil creature out front, and then that's kind of it. But Jarvis said it's 12. And they're ranked 12. Okay, so went from 13 to 12. Good. Keep them in the weeds. Keep them outside of the top 10. This isn't a top 10 team yet. Don't put them in the top 10. We go back to the phone lines, and we have 608. Let's do it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from? Try one more time. The reception seems kind of bad. Go ahead.
I'm Tom from Wisconsin calling in again.
Is it Tom, right?
Yes, Tom from Wisconsin. Yep.
Tom, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Good to have you back, man. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to make the comment that you had just made a couple minutes ago about consistency in 4 quarters. And that's exactly what I was thinking about when you said that. You want to see consistency 4 quarters, not a quarter here and a quarter there. You want from start to finish 4 quarters of going balls to the wall. That's what I want to see. And you can't have one or the other. I mean, you don't want to be playing from behind every game. You can't have that, especially now that we're in the SEC part of the schedule now. I mean, what happens if, we were down, 14-6 against Ole Miss? I mean, what happens is everybody in a panic mode because now we're going to play catch up real fast, which, we can't have that. We got to play consistently 4 quarters of football. And I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, I appreciate it. On with Tom from Wisconsin. You're right. Look, the schedule that is coming up, and I have the schedule somewhere up here because I look at the schedule and I'm really excited to see how this team comes with it throughout the next couple of weeks. It's a very challenging schedule. And it's going to present a lot of challenges if Alabama cannot put together 4 quarters of play. I've talked about this a couple times. I'll put it full screen just one more time so the new viewers can check it out. So you got a game to Stark Vegas this coming weekend. You got the Cowbells. You guys, let me hear you guys in the comment box. Have you guys been to Mississippi State and have you seen the Cowbells? They literally have a huge, gigantic video board, and then there's a huge icon on their scoreboard of a cowbell, and it tells you when to ring the cowbell and when not to ring the cowbell. And then the cowbell is passed on like through generations. So like people give their cowbell on to like the next fan. I mean, it's a cowbell. But whatever. I mean, the thing about it is it's loud and it can be a tricky environment. Can't overlook this game. Then you go to Texas A&M, and you know who's coaching Texas A&M? Another former assistant by the name of Jimbo Fisher. And the last time that Alabama was over there, everybody remembers what happened is they were able to beat a Bryce Young-led team, and Alabama's going over there. Again, 12th man, very tough to play. You also have Arkansas coming to Tuscaloosa, and you have Tennessee. Another tough stretch, back-to-back games. The open week comes at a prime time as Alabama gets ready for LSU. And then you have Kentucky, Chattanooga, and a game in Auburn against Hugh Freeze. So it's a challenging schedule. But if this team is able to play at a consistent level, which I think we're starting to see a little bit more of, this team is better than the week 1 team. This team is better than the week 2 team. and you want to continue to improve. The penalties improved. There's still a couple of these snaps that the snaps are driving me crazy. Like I don't understand. Like we all played at football at some level. Like bad snaps, like that's just not it. Like that doesn't even happen at the high school or junior high level as much as it's happening. One of our viewers said that there was 9 bad snaps this season. 9. There should be like 2 a season maybe. So that is perplexing. Kind of like, the tackle play, and I know the guys played a little bit better this past weekend, but those are things that have to improve going forward for this team to be able to eliminate those so-called drive killers. What else you got, Tom?
Well, I would think too, to allude to what you just said about the offensive line, I play offensive line too in the high school level, and that was it. But you want to cut down on the holding penalties, the false starts, stuff like that, the little things, and you got to be able to block for whoever's going to be a quarterback, give them so they give time to make a play down the field if they have to. I mean, we can't be having this going in like you said, down to Starkville and on and on and on after that. I mean, it's just going to be, it's like, we got to figure it out fast, and I believe we can do it, but like I said, we got to turn it on. You just can't turn it on for a half. The main thing is you got to turn it on for 4 quarters. From start to finish. You got to.
And, it's an important that.
Otherwise, it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, the whole way.
Then all you got all these negative. Yeah. The whole way. It's going to be a shit show. And then you're going to be everybody bitching about this and that. Well, you know what? Life goes on. It happens. Move on. Let's keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. That's all you can do. If you dwell on what happened last week, the way we played, fine, dwell on it, but I'm not going to. I'm moving on to Starkville. That's the next opponent, and we got to get them. It's going to, like you said, it's going to be the cowbell. We all know it's going to be a hostile environment down there. They always have those guys ready to play against us, and I just want to see consistency all the way across the board from all 3 phases. Special teams, defense, offense. I want to see a consistent game from 4 quarters, from start to finish. That's all I got for tonight. I appreciate you letting me call in and roll tide, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take it easy, Tom. Roll tide to you. Tom calling in brings up a really good point. The consistency of Will Reichard has been really amazing. I had brought this statistic up another time on one of the shows, and Will Reichard is currently leading the team in scoring, by no surprise. But the second leading scorer for Alabama right now is Ty Simpson, who has 14 total points, which is weird because he's not even the starting quarterback. Let me run through the Pro Football Focus grades real quick on the offensive side and the defensive side, because I don't think I went over them in detail during the first part of this show. So here are the Pro Football Focus grades against Ole Miss, and we'll start up top on left, and I'll get to you the callers in just a second. We got a 615, 614, and an 832 inside the call queue. Hang tight. So let's start with Tyler Booker up top left. He was a starter. That's what that star indicates. And the total represents snap counts, which is 70. He has played in his offensive grade was 74.6. J.C. Latham played in 70 snaps. His grade was a 68.1. Seth McLaughlin played in 70 snaps. His grade was a 61.4. Jalen Milroe, 69 plays and had a grade of 82.4, which led the entire team. And then you had Darian Dalcourt at 51.4, and then Caden Proctor at 64.6. So not an overall solid performance in the offense, and that's kind of like the 2 quarters that Alabama put together. I don't see Jalen Hell on this. It's probably because he played less than 23 snaps, because I cut it off at 23 right under Ja'Cory Brooks. Ja'Cory Brooks, as you know, came in on special teams and was able to block a punt. Here are the defensive grades. Yeah, and I don't think those grades are anything to be too excited about, right? I mean, they improve, but still, those aren't necessarily the grades to get really excited about. Let's look at the defensive grades against Ole Miss, and let me find those real fast. Oh, here they are. Okay, so up top, you have Caleb Downs, and Caleb Downs played in 67 snaps, and he had a defensive grade of 83.9, which is amazing for a freshman. That's outstanding, especially against the Lane Kiffin style offense. Terran Arnold played at a very high level, as you know, 79.9. Kool-Aid, 78.2. Fam, these grades are great. Malachi Moore, 69.7. Jalen Key, 66.8. That was probably Jalen Key's, I guess, worst game so far this year. Dallas Turner, look at that grade, 88.3. That's the highest grade of any defensive player this year through 4 games. Jahad Campbell, that's a little bit surprising to see 59.6 because I thought he did play a good game. Same thing with Broswell. Sometimes these grades, like, they might not make sense to you, but who knows? I mean, these are coaches that are grading them in particular situations, whatever. Same thing with like Tim Keenan. I thought Tim Keenan played really well to me. So I even saw the big man chasing down Jackson Dart, which is crazy because Jackson Dart is a running quarterback. So those are the Pro Football Focus grades. All right, we go back to the phone lines. 615, let's get it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, it's Michael from Nashville. I talked to you on the morning show earlier today.
Yeah, double dipping, man. I appreciate you calling back. I just had the Pro Football Focus grades. We got Mississippi State this coming weekend, man, but it's your show. Take it away.
Well, I appreciate you having that awesome data, and I think there's a lot of value in the Pro Football Focus numbers. I think, like you said, it's guys who've been there, played the game. They know what they're looking for, but there's always something more besides just the numbers. I wanted to speak to one or two things about Milroe and Tommy Reese. Earlier today, I was calling him Kyle Reese. I think my new nickname on the show. When I call in, I'm just going to say it's the Terminator. But you'll just know it's Michael from Nashville. But yeah, so here's my thing. I heard you talking earlier about the Dolphins putting up 70 against the Broncos, and I was actually just sitting on the couch watching the highlights. And there's so many ways I want to take this, but you can cut me off if you want to. But first thing, when Kiffin and Sarkisian were here, there was a palpable element to who's calling the plays on this offense. This is not your average run-of-the-mill fan who sits on the couch can cook up these plays type of offense. It was, oh, that's a really unique play. Oh, guess what? Kiffin's our OC. And then when Sark was there, it was, man, there's something exceptional about this play calling. And it's, well, Sarkisian's your head coach. And there's been times, I think back to maybe in 2009, 2012, there were some big games with LSU. I remember particularly with Leonard Fournette when we had a stellar defensive performance. Fournette was wrapped up the Heisman basically, and they came into Tuscaloosa, I think they came to Tuscaloosa, and you probably remember this game, Kyle, when we shut down the LSU offense that night and wrapped up Leonard Fournette. It probably took the Heisman away from him, but it was palpable that Coach Nick Saban was in charge of the defense. I take all that to say, I'm ready to have an offensive coordinator who, when you watch the play calling and you see the designs and the scheme and the creativity of the plays, you say, who's that OC? He's doing something. And I mentioned the Dolphins game because I was watching the highlights, and one of the plays the Dolphins scored on, Tua's under center. They've got, a single running back in the backfield. They bring a receiver kind of in jet sweep. Tua takes a snap from under center, and it looks like he's going to hand it off to the jet coming around, maybe 4 or 5 yards deep in the backfield. And turns out he shuttle passes it forward to the running back who stepped forward during during all the motion. And I just thought, what a brilliant play. And, very, very creative, very get your back to your skill players and do it in unconventional ways. And we all know that Milroe, he's having trouble stepping back and reading the defense like Mac Jones, okay? But when Cam Newton and Nick Marshall were at Auburn, I can't tell you how many times I would see this play where they be in shotgun, they bring somebody in jet motion, they fake the handoff to the jet guy, maybe they give it to the running back on like a QB option. If the QB would take it, maybe the QB would run with it, or maybe he'd go lateral, and maybe he'd throw it behind the line to the jet guy, or maybe he'd pump fake it behind the line to the guy who is just in jet motion, and then he'd go deep to a guy who is running a go route or a wheel. Just all these things you can do to force the DBs to have eye discipline, as opposed to just and again, when you do that with guys like Cam Newton and Nick Marshall, if none of the eye candy works, you can still throw the ball, or you can still just hold it as the quarterback and run it. But we don't do any of these things that a head coach and a coordinator can do to help the game, help the players on the field by nothing more than just the scheming and the confusing of the defense and causing the defense to be hesitant and lack confidence in what they're doing. And those are things, like I said, that just by calling plays, just by scheming formations, regardless of whether or not the players execute the throwing and the passing and the blocking, but just in those administrative things, the OC can make a palpable difference. And I hope Tommy Rees is willing to sit down and watch some of these other coordinators and realize he can affect the game the way Saban affects the game, the way Sark and Kiffin affect the game. But let me get your thoughts on that. I know I was long-winded, but I wanted to make that point.
Yeah, I'm going to answer on the other line, Michael, but I appreciate you calling in, man.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep. That's Michael calling in, talking about kind of the offensive schematics. When Lane Kiffin put together some of the plays, that dude can cook up some plays. There was guys open. I said this earlier. It looked like they ran onto the field. I didn't even see where they were coming from, and they were so wide open. There was a couple plays that he cooked up on Saturday that there wasn't a guy 25 yards radius. Imagine if you had the arsenal again back at Alabama. Imagine if you had Jalen Milroe to work with. Right? Like, okay, Jackson Dart, he's a good athlete. He's not Jalen Milroe. They have some weapons. They've had weapons. How could they not? You want to go play for Lane Kiffin. You look to other successful offensive play callers. You know who I was impressed with, honestly, was Alex Gollish from South Florida. I love how he utilized the entire field. He did the same thing at Tennessee when Tennessee beat Alabama. Imagine if he had Jalen Milroe. I'm just saying it still seems like a little bit of this is on Tommy Rees. Eric Thomas in the comment box is like, is Rees going to be back here next year? Yeah, for sure. I mean, Saban's never gone, kind of one and done unless he was to go big time, which I don't think he will, considering, the offensive performance this far from Alabama. Things can change, whatever. But I don't see that much creativity. Somebody on Twitter, I forgot about this. I think it was during like the first quarter or the second quarter. They tweeted a picture and it was Bill O'Brien and they said, "Miss you, babe." Look, I don't know if it's that far. I think it's been a sample size. It's been 4 games, but I still think that Tommy Rees can get with it. So let's maybe just hold tight before we start calling for heads. I mean, they are 3-1 and they're taking steps forward. All right, we go back to the phone line, 614. Let's get it. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Coach Green out of Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, man?
I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Did you say Coach Green?
Yep, Coach Green out of Columbus, Ohio.
All right, man. Take it away, man. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, man. Long-time Bama fan, born in Tuscaloosa, man. Just wanted to comment on the game. Well, you guys was talking about Tommy Rees. I remember when he was hired, you had a call-in show. We were discussing the new coordinator hires, and I really was never – high on the guy because he's really never developed a quarterback, and all the offenses at Notre Dame has been kind of somewhat predictable power running game. Obviously, this is the biggest weapon he's ever had with Jalen Milroe, but we just need some more diversity in the offense, man. Some quarterback rollouts, some different screens, some RPOs. We do look really predictable. First down run. We get behind the sticks, obvious pass situations. So it's going to be tough when we play some really good fronts, especially Texas A&M. They probably got the best front that we're going to see all year where we won't be able to just pound the ball. And, Milroe's going to have to, probably throw it 30, 35 times a game because people's going to make him beat us and stop the run. So we just need some diversity in offense. I think Bama overall has improved throughout the 3 games. That was kind of a glimpse of Saban, playing the 2 quarterbacks because he said he wanted to play those guys, at least try to see where we're at with the backups. But I want to see more of Simpson, man. I thought Simpson was going to get a chance the last game when we wasn't moving the offense the first half, but we'd love to see more of him because he's more of a pure passer. He doesn't hold the ball as long as Milroe's. But we'll see. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think, I wish that we would have seen more of Ty Simpson in that first game against Middle Tennessee. And I thought maybe in the third quarter when Alabama was kind of going back and forth with Texas, that maybe we should have seen Ty Simpson there. And now in hindsight, Ty Simpson should have started against South Florida. Now it's too late for that because this is street fight mode. This is survive in advance. Like there's no like toying around. Like Milroe's the guy. Let's go win the game. And Simpson continue to develop. And who knows? Maybe Simpson at some point during the season comes in and plays, and we see him start to emerge. But right now, like it's too late to waffle. And I think that, like I said, it's hard to be critical of Coach Saban at all because he's done so many great things. But for the first time, I just don't think that quarterback situation was handled effectively. But maybe those guys weren't as developed as we thought they were going to be. It's just, I don't know, it's a really weird thing that I've never seen Alabama's kind of have that lackluster start, kind of be confused. The players didn't know what was going to happen in the quarterback room, saying that they support every guy. No, like they want to support the best guy that gives them a best chance to win the game. So Coach Saban said plenty of times, like, who the best player is on the team. I guarantee you the players know who the best quarterback is. With that said, this team, but let me ask you this, Coach. Did this team take an offensive step forward against Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, you got to take Ole Miss for who they are. They're inferior competition. I mean, I know they're in the SEC, but Lane really haven't never won anything with those guys. The defense is really small, 280 linemen. I mean, they're a decent team. I know they scored 35 points, but they're never anywhere to win the SEC. So I look at it from that point of view with the caliber of competition that you're playing. I mean, we're saying best quarterback. I think Jalen is probably the best athlete on the team, hands down. I'm really sold on Simpson, man. I want to see this kid. I think he's more of a pure passer. Jalen probably give us the best chance to win because Simpson don't have any experience. But I think to win a championship, we got to be able to throw the ball and we got to be able to put points up. Obviously, Georgia's been able to do it. They have more balance, but their quarterback play has been a whole lot better than ours. I think we got the receivers, Burden. You got the kid from Louisiana. You got the kid out of junior college. Then you got the freshman showing up. We got some receiver. What's the guy named from Florida? I think he's a senior. I don't think he even caught a ball. Our receivers aren't getting, 4 or 5 balls a game. So I'm just worried about that in the future. I think right now we're good. We'll beat Mississippi State now. When we get into the meat of the schedule where we got harder competition, Texas A&M probably has the best athlete for athlete that can compete with us. Auburn, not worried about them. Tennessee, they're going to score some points. But I'm just worried about the future, man, and that's kind of how I look at it, big picture-wise.
Yeah, no, I got you. And like we've seen in the past, I mean, things can change. I mean, you're one play, and when you're number 2, you're one play away from being the guy. I mean, Jalen Milroe took a big shot, and Ty Simpson comes in, and he jumps into the end zone for that 2-point. So you gotta be ready. You gotta have your head locked in. You gotta be dialed in. Ty is 1,000,000% the backup quarterback of this team. We've seen backup quarterbacks of this team win a national championship, and we've seen a backup quarterback come in and win the SEC championship, right? I mean, Jalen and Tua both did it. Right, as backup. So the backup has to be ready, has to be prepared. I don't think we've seen the end of Ty Simpson by any stretch of the imagination. Probably Tyler Buckner. That's the way the game goes. There can only be one at the quarterback position. That's why we love football. And, we'll see how it goes. But I will say this, that ball that Ty Simpson did throw in South Florida to Dupree, that was money. I mean, was right on the money, was good pass. He managed that game. He got Alabama out of Tampa with a W, and that's all that matters. Coach Green, I appreciate you calling in.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
I get one last question. I'm not down on Milroe. He's still developing as a passer. Comparisons, when Jalen Hurts was a freshman to where Milroe's, who do you think was the better quarterback at that point or at that stage in their career? Obviously, Hurts came in as a freshman baller. Yeah. Who would you say was the better quarterback at that time?
Ooh, that may be. I might have to ask the community. All right, so Coach Green is asking. Let me ask you this: who was better at that time, Jalen Hurts or Jalen Milroe? What do you guys think? Jarvis is saying Hurts. Oh man, this is a tough one.
I think Milroe has a better supporting cast at receivers because Hurts didn't have. Who did Hurts? Did he have Amari? Who did he have at?
No, he had Calvin Ridley, and that was about it. So it looks like, okay. It looks like so far 3 out of 4 have said Hurts. So There's your. This is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Who wants to be the biggest Alabama Crimson Tide football fan? We had to ask the audience on that one. All right, Roll Tide to you, man. All right, see you, Coach Green. Take it easy. All right, man, that was a tough one. I had to call the audience. I need to be able to like phone a friend. I need to phone like Coach Sean if I ever get like inside a tough spot and be able to call like, gonna treat this like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. All right, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Busy Monday. We got Coach Oates at the podium. You got Coach Saban. You got Jalen Milroe. A lot to go over on Monday as Alabama preps for Mississippi State, Alabama. Do a poll. There is a poll option that I could do on YouTube. I'm on StreamYard, so it'd be hard for me to do a poll, but I think there is a way to do a poll. But yeah, that would be good. Lifeline. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Eric. Everybody needs a lifeline, man. This is all live. And sometimes I don't have the answer. I don't know. 832, let's do it. Hey, welcome to the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where you calling in from?
This is Mike, and I'm from Austin, Texas.
Mike, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for joining us this evening, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I just want to say, everybody talks about quarterback play, but it's hard for Jalen Milroe to develop as a quarterback when he's got no blocking from the offensive line. And, the offensive line is still trying to develop and get a personality or whatever, or try to develop, I guess. But it's hard for a quarterback to develop when he's running for his life half the time. That's what I've seen during the Texas game. But anyway, with that being said, from this point, it's going to be hard for Alabama to go to the playoffs and make the 14 playoffs. And the reason I say that, because from this point, there's just no margin of error that they're allowed. I mean, it's almost near impossible to make it to the SEC without one loss. And the schedule you showed earlier, they play LSU, they play Tennessee, they play Auburn at Auburn, and Mississippi State coming up. They should beat Mississippi State, but they have some tough games. So it'd be hard for them to make it through without losing one of them games. And everybody just seems to be hating on Alabama right now. All the national media seems to be hating on them and looking for a reason. But they're number 13. Give me a break. I know they should be better than that. But just like last year, Bama probably should have went to the playoffs, but they were left out because opposers TCU got in, and we've seen what happened there, and because of Big Ten privilege, they got in. But it seems like everybody's just hating on Alabama and looking for any reason to keep them out of the playoff, and hating on Saban, and even people like Paul Feinbaum hates on Saban Alabama all the time. I mean, so from this point, there's just no margin of error because the national media, all they'll do is look for any reason they can to keep Alabama out of the playoffs. And if they lose one more game, well, there's a reason right there, just like last year.
I think we're on with Mike from Austin. I mean, you do make a good point, and everybody was trying to fight somebody that was older yesterday. You had Ryan Day, who was trying to fight Lou Holtz, and then you had the Washington State coach who was trying to fight Lee Corso. So everybody was kind of poking the older folks, and a lot of people trying to poke the GOAT. That was Lane Kiffin was trying to poke the GOAT, and I think he woke up the GOAT. I think when you look to kind of the Bama fatigue, it certainly still exists. That's why people are screaming for Florida State to stay relevant and to continue to win. By the way, they almost lost. They should have lost to Clemson. And that's why people want Notre Dame to be right there, right? Because those are the teams that, like that generation covered, and they want them to be good again. And those are headlines that travel well. Is Notre Dame fighting Irish football? That's a strong search engine optimization headline. I agree with you. It's going to be tough for Alabama to reach the college football playoffs. It's going to be tough for them to win the SEC West. It's a gauntlet that is coming up, and there is no margin for error. With that said, they are 1-0 in SEC play, and things happen. The good news is when you look to Alabama's schedule, the majority of the difficult games are in Bryant-Denny. And the way that the energy level was yesterday, it really catapulted that team. So you have Arkansas at home, you have Tennessee at home, and you have LSU at home. Those are three monumental games that you have to have W's in. Auburn's on the road, Texas A&M's on the road, and Mississippi State's on the road. Those are all challenging games. Look, you said it. There's no margin for error. And if you're going to lose, you lose early in the season. This team has to, you can't lose twice, but they still can lose, I guess, and get to the SEC. But whatever the case is, the fact of the matter is they have to put 4 quarters together and they have to beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State going on the road, it's challenging. I've been there before when they had Jalen Hurts and they almost lost. They had to rally back in the 4th quarter to win that game. It's a challenging environment. It's loud. You can't overlook a team like that, and I guarantee you Saban's not. What else you got, Mike?
Well, not a whole lot, but yeah, I was here when they almost killed Tua too. But it's like I say, just I do know one. Yeah. If Alabama would have Michigan's schedule, Alabama would be undefeated. If Alabama have Georgia's schedule, they'd probably be undefeated. If Alabama had Ohio State's schedule playing at Notre Dame, with all due respect to Notre Dame, that's no amazing feat beating Notre Dame. I mean, that's a given that Notre Dame's going to lose to a decent team, to the best teams. But anyway, like I say, they just look for any reason to keep Alabama out of the playoffs. If they lose one more game, that'd be the reason right there. But all right, Kyle, you take care, buddy. God bless you. Keep up the good show, and I enjoy watching the show on YouTube, man. You take care.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. Mike from Austin calling in. You guys can watch the show from your big screen TV. Just open up the app, the YouTube app, and just go to BAMA Football on YouTube, and it comes up on your TV. So, nice to have it kind of emulated on the full screen if you want to. You don't have to watch it on your phone or whatever. And I think that's right. I mean, people want Bama to lose so they're not in the playoffs. They do like when Alabama's in the playoffs because everybody watches Alabama because if you're not a fan, you want them to lose, right? Just because they've had such a successful run. But look what happened last season. I mean, Alabama lost 2 games by a total of, 4 points, and they didn't make the playoffs? So if they're able to lose a game by 10 points and then lose to somebody else in the SEC, people would be like, oh, this really isn't the team. Long season. Got to beat Mississippi State. That's all that matters is the game in front of you. That's it. We go back to the phone lines with the 470, and we start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Andrew from Douglasville again.
Hey, what's up, Andrew? I appreciate you calling in, man. Alabama beats Ole Miss 24-10, 1-0 in SEC play. Welcome to the show, man. What's on your mind?
Well, first off, I was wrong. I thought, it'll probably be like 48-35, but our defense did really, really good, which was amazing. So hats off to our defense. National championship defense right there, I'm telling you. And I was, I thought our offense, I thought we did all right. First half we struggled, but that opening drive we looked really, really good, moving the ball downfield at will, looking like old Alabama, and then we just lost it on the end of the drive. I don't know, was that the drive when Jalen threw a pick, or was that the second drive? I think we settled for the field goal and opening drive, and then I think it was the second drive. Jalen threw a pick, which sucked. And then we had the other drives in the red zone where we settled for field goals. But, hey, 3's better than nothing. And then that second half, man, just, oh, my gosh, we came out of the locker room, just dominated Ole Miss. And like I said, if it wasn't for the new clock rules and stuff, we would have had a lot more time. Probably could have gone some more points on the board, but I think we beat them like 17-3 or something in the second half. So that was just something else. The offense ain't where we want it to be yet, but I think this was a good start. And then I think next week against Mississippi State, if we can play like we did in the second half, all 60 minutes, I think we're gonna just destroy Mississippi State. But like I said, our defense is really good. And I think Milroe, you take away that one pick, he played a solid game. I'm not going to say he played a great game. He played a solid game, threw for like 225, 1 touchdown, and I don't know how many rushing yards he had. He had a few. And our running back play, though, I thought after USF, Voidar Williams was going to be running back one, and then but Jason McClellan, man, he came to play, and he got 100-something rushing yards, and then Voidar Williams did really good too. So I think we need to keep running the ball like that. And then our O-line was able to open up the run game, which was really nice to see. And then they actually gave Jalen Milroe some time to pass. They gave him a little too much time to pass a couple times. So that was something. So I think that second half, everything clicked like we needed it to. And I just hope we can keep that going. And I think the previous call of Mike, I disagree. I think Alabama will definitely run the table. I think this team is fired up now after beating Ole Miss. I think they have a lot of enthusiasm now, and I think each game we get more and more settled in and play a lot more like old Alabama. And that game, we look like we had glimpses of old Alabama, old school Alabama, and that rushing touchdown from Jason McClellan, that was old school Alabama, man, just shoving it down their throats. So like I said, this game was definitely a good base, and we can build a lot off this game. Like I said, we're not a great team yet. We're still struggling a little bit, but I think we have potential to be a great team this season. And I think if we keep on building and keep on improving each week, I think by the end of the season we're going to be a great team, and I think we're going to be playing the national championship. But right now we're a really solid team, and I think our defense could beat any other team in the nation right now if our offense just plays half decent. But I was really impressed with what I saw, and I think it's given us a lot of hope now. And I think Alabama is going to be. I don't know if we're going to be back completely this season, but I think we're going to do really, really, really good this season. I think next season we're going to be unstoppable. What I think, but yeah, man, that's all I got, man.
Well, I appreciate it, Andrew. And before you go, a couple things. Here are the stats from this past game. So Jace had 17 carries for 106 yards. Milroe had 64 gained, but his net was only 28 because, again, the sacks negate some of those yards. Reception-wise, it was Roydale Williams who actually had the most receptions in that game, which is weird because he only had 13 yards. Jalen Hell had 2 receptions for 63 yards. Burton had 2 for 62. And then Milroe was 17 to 21 for 225 yards. So those are your stats. But I wanted to say, Andrew, you have really good context, and I like when you call in, man. So continue to bring in your good takes, be authentic, and call in anytime.
I will, man. I appreciate it, man. Keep up the show, man. It's always fun watching you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Take it easy. All right, that was Andrew calling in, and we got a force. Actually, we got a 3-3-4 that we will take in just a second. Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Busy day on Monday as we got Coach Oates. We also have some basketball coverage, and then we have Coach Nick Saban at 12 p.m. and then Jalen Milroe as well, coming to you right here on the BAMA Football YouTube channel. So I've mentioned this before. I've never really provided coverage on basketball, so I'm going to keep the channel the same, but when you start to see the basketball coverage come up, same thing. We're going to cover basketball this year. I think the basketball team deserves it. I can certainly cover basketball. This is what I do for a full-time living, so I'm capable to cover basketball, and I want to bring that context to you guys because I can talk football. I can also talk basketball. So excited about it. So tomorrow will be a good opportunity to bring you Nate Oates' press conference and some basketball footage, but obviously it's still football. It's always going to be football heavy, but when you start to see some basketball content items added, that's just kind of, it's part of the YouTube channel that we will add on to as we get to the particular season. But we'll be excited to hear from Nate Oates tomorrow. So we'll bring that here on BAMA Football on YouTube. We go back to the phone lines with a 3-3-4, and we start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
David from Opelika.
Hey, what's up, David? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing amazing. I feel good. Sometimes I appreciate you asking. Sometimes I think, during the football season, it does get a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot to cover. I'm by myself. And I'm not asking for any sympathy or whatever, but it is a grind. It's a gauntlet, and you have to stay at a very high level mentally to be able to bring good coverage. I mean, like it or not, it takes a lot of energy to talk, to listen, and it's but it's part of it. So but I'm here for it. And I the shows are great and excited to be here, man. So I appreciate it and welcome to the show. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, I enjoyed the game yesterday, but I thought when Jalen threw that interception, I said, "Oh snap, he fit to get benched." But I was surprised that Saban stuck with him, and it just creeps my mind out for when we in a short situation, we got less than 5 yards. Why in the world do we get in the pistol formation instead of just quarterback sneak or just a heavy pack? I like 1 yard line after man. Come on. I was Stevie Wonder when he called that play. But I was just really impressed that Jalen took accountability and he went down the line and patting everybody, said, "It's on me, just trust me." You can just read his lips and he said, "We'll get it back," And I just proud of how they went back out there fighting even though they were messing up. I don't know what's wrong with the center, but man, he got the jitters or something. He just when he hiked the ball, it just something off with him this year. But I think we're gonna do all right through the rest of the schedule. I think Milroe, like Blake said, when it was hit between him and Coke, and everybody want to pull him out and put Coke in. I think it just be all right with him. We just growing pains. We just got to let the man do what he do, and just trust Saban.
Yeah, I know the center thing is something that I've talked about. But that time when they come out, you're first and goal from the one. Like, I mean, put the quarterback under center and just pound it, right? With one of the biggest quarterbacks in college football. I don't know. And I get it. I mean, there's a lot of people, like even Adam inside the comment box, he's saying he's not sold on Milroe. I mean, why would you be? I mean, it hasn't established an entire, 4 quarters just yet. I'm on the Milroe train. I think that he has the leadership. Man, he's such a charismatic dude, and he's an athletic guy. I mean, and his deep ball has been phenomenal, and the guys want to play for him. They want to play around him. I think he's going to win a lot of games for Alabama this season. I really do. And I think that the more that him and Tommy Rees kind of get on that same page, or maybe they just unleash him, I think Jalen Milroe is going to do phenomenal. But
he got a quick step. That boy quick as a hiccup. When he gets outside and he just moves and plant his foot, he got one of the quicker releases I've seen for us running down the field.
Yep. Yeah. What else, David? Anything else regarding kind of the next game against Mississippi State? Anything else you want to see? Any thoughts on the defense? Because the defense played phenomenal.
Man, I just wish the defense can go up in the stand and get all them cowbells they're gonna be bringing.
Yeah, the cowbells.
But they just got to play through. They got to play through adversity. I'm just going. I've been an Alabama fan. I'm 49. I've been an Alabama fan for over 30 years. I was there when they called the wide receiver split in with Lamar Russell. But they got to be. I was so proud of the defense yesterday. Actually, we missed a couple of tackles, but that's the most get after a quarterback I've seen in a while.
5 quarterback sacks, 8 pressures on the quarterback. It was great to see the defense finally get turned up. And the energy level was crazy in the second half because Bryant-Denny Stadium, as we've talked about, it can be sleepy. It wasn't sleepy by any means. It was hot in the beginning of the game, and then it got loud. And I'm glad to see that, those fans and you know what Coach Saban did for the second time this season was he left the podium after the press conference, and he came back on. He was like, I just want to say thank you to the fans for bringing that level of energy to the game, because I honestly feel that has impacted, 2 games. I mean, the fans showed up against Texas 1,000,000%, and they did their thing. But yesterday, they needed the fans as well. These fans are going to continue to play a pivotal role in this team. You got to that whole 12th man thing that exists. The energy level's got to be high. What else you got, David?
I'm just glad because I thought it kind of changed when they started booing when Jalen took that 1 sack, and they started booing him and started like, man, don't do that kid like that, because no matter who get in there and they mess up, you got to rally around them, and that affects them. Even though they're young, I do it to somebody that's making millions of dollars, but to somebody who's still a little child, I ain't gonna be that hard on them.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your call, Kyle. Let me call in. Answer my call.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it, David. Thanks so much. Roll Tide to you.
All right.
All right, we got a 337 and a 205. We'll just jump right into it. 337, let's do it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is David from Louisiana.
David, you are double dipping today on this beautiful Sunday, man. Take it away.
Well, couldn't help but double dip, brother. But anyways, last year we barely beat Ole Miss. It was 30-24 last year. They actually outrushed us last year. They had 191 yards rushing last year. There are 108 yards rushing, which was crazy. But anyways, on the Jalen Hurts versus Jalen Milroe, Jalen Hurts started as a freshman. He went 13-1. He had 2,780 passing yards. He had 954 rushing yards. He threw 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He had 13 rushing touchdowns. Total was 3,734 yards. Now, I want you to also, if you can, I like baseball. Alabama baseball did pretty good last year. They made it into the playoffs and everything. I like to see if you can cover some of that as well with this new coach that come from, I think, Maryland up there or whatever, if you possibly can. We did win twice yesterday. Actually, we won by -9 yards in penalties compared to Ole Miss. They had 8 for 69. We had 6 for 60. Now, another question I have for you, and I want your honest opinion and everybody in the comment box. We have the number 1 dual threat quarterback that's possibly coming to Alabama. He's already committed. I don't know if he's signed on the dotted line, if he's a verbal commit. But if Tommy Rees don't get his beep, beep, beep together and start showing something, and his offensive line doesn't get better to protect, which I know some are going to be leaving after this year, do you think it's possible that Julian Saban may decommit and go to another school? Because, family does have emphasis on things, especially being protective of their kid getting hurt and ending their career young. There's always that possibility, because you saw what USF done to poor little old Ty Simpson on that blind side. He was getting destroyed. I thought they broke his back a couple of times when they hit him. And I'm not saying that Saban can't take the hits, but these kids look at that stuff too. They look at how the team performs, before they make their commitment, and they make their commitment. Then after they see that the team's not performing up to par like they were before or whatever, and they may decommit. So other than that, that's all I got to say. Just let me know your input on that. And with that being said, God bless everyone. God bless this country. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, David. Appreciate the call in. Double dipping. Regarding the quarterback situation, I mean, look, I think that Julian Saban is the guy that people are rightfully excited about. We don't know the future, and until these guys are legitimately signed, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, now you guys know the world that we live in with NIL and the money that's being floated around. I was just reading that players are wanting $5,000 just to make an appearance on campus. Can you believe that we're at that point? We're in the wild west of this NIL space. Now, let's just hypothetically say that Julian's saying that he does sign and everything goes according to plan. So who are the quarterbacks next year on campus, right? You have Milroe. You have Simpson, right? You have Lonergan. And you have Saban, right? So those are your quarterbacks. And and I'm saying that with Eli and Buckner transferring. That's just what I'm thinking, right? So those are the 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Can you imagine the quarterbacks controversy that we're going to be talking about next spring? So Eli, I mean, you would think that Eli and Buckner hit the transfer. I have no idea if they're going to, but that was just, I mean, that's what it looks like right there. So I don't know. I mean, until these kids are actually signed, I mean, who knows? And a lot has to do with the relationship between the offensive coordinator, who is also the quarterback's coach, and that maintaining that strong relationship with Julian's saying. So that's a pivotal part that Tommy Rees has to do, and he has to show Julian that he can coach at this high level. And people have been really critical of Tommy thus far. I saw someone in the comment box that said that he's doing just fine. I mean, he's having to work with Alabama's playbook and work with Jalen Milroe. I mean, I think we've been critical of him thus far, but it's only been 4 games. Maybe we can look back through 8 games and have more of a sample size. We go back to the phone lines with the 205, and we start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? Uncle Charles, what's happening, man?
What's up, Uncle Charles? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Man, it's good to see you. It's a blessing to hear your voice. Good to see you. Let me just say this. I want the Alabama fans to know this, the Alabama family, because we are family. At the end of the day, it's the win that tells the story. But now, don't be surprising of what you don't saw, because Alabama is still in a rebuilding stage at this point. I mean, hey, let's be honest. The first half, second half, it looked so bad out there. I went to sleep and I woke up in the third quarter. I said, maybe we might have a chance. But don't ever let your eyes fool you. You tell about people when you're winning. You see how people are. But when you start losing, you find out who your friends are. Now, Colorado out there got smoked like a pack of cool cigarettes this week. And they're going to get smoked like a pack of cool cigarettes this week, too. Because he said we 8 players away from having a good team. No, you're 25 players and a prison sentence. Yeah, you're a long way from that, bro. But you find out who a real Alabama fan is when you start losing. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what's going to happen from here to tomorrow. And now, I don't worry about right now, because tomorrow ain't never promised to you. Mm-hmm. So I worry about right now. And when I look at the Alabama team trying to find themselves, they try to find themselves. And I hope before the end of the year, they do find themselves. Because if they don't, I'm going to have to put out a missing report that somebody missing. And we're going to have to find you. So come on, Alabama. Do your thing. Trust in Nick Saban. Trust in his work. Trust in what he's teaching you. You got to sacrifice. It's about sacrifice. It's about giving your all out there on that field. Let me say this in closing. You know, they had this river. And it was a squirrel and a rabbit and a raccoon. They wanted to get across to the other side of the river to get the low-hanging fruit from the tree. But they couldn't swim. But it was an alligator that manned that river. And he saw them on the bank over there. He peeked his head out the water. He said, hey, you guys, why are you standing on the side of the bank? He said, we want to get over there and get that fruit, but we can't swim. He said, climb on my back, and I'll take you to the other side. And all 3 of them climbed on his back, and he took them over there. And he said, Mr. Alligator, what do we owe you? He said, you don't owe me nothing, but I owe you something. So he ate all 3 of them. Why? Because he's an alligator. That's why. That's why. Trust in yourself, knowing that you're mentally ready for the game, physically and spiritually ready for the game, and you will prevail. Make that other team quit. It's about making that team quit. And you got to look in their eyes and say, this is not going to be an easy breakfast or lunch or dinner. And that's all I got to say, and I appreciate you, baby.
I appreciate you, Uncle Charles. Man, that's like,
yes, sir.
I look forward to that. That's like I think it's all of our like Sunday evening sermon from Uncle Charles, right? The pack of cools, then don't trust the Gators. That's what Will says. We go right back to the phone lines. Tough act to follow after Uncle Charles calls in. I love the analogies. Do you think he just has those, or do you think they are made up on the spot? Right? I don't know, but it is good content. My goodness. All right, back to the phone lines. 859. Let's get it. Hey, welcome to the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where you calling in from?
Hey, what's up? This is Dwight Cunningham. I'm calling from Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, Dwight. About to be up there about another month or so, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show. Take it away.
Oh, man, it sucks to have to follow that great act, man. I kind of don't know what to say, you know. No, but what I want to say is, first of all, Roll Tide. I feel like what I seen on Saturday is just a little sample size of what we can be.
Yeah.
I felt Milroe was rusty, and I think that's due to the fact that he didn't play last week. He didn't really get any snaps in. So I just feel like that after we start rolling, I feel like we're going to be good. I think our defense is going to get even better. And I think if Milroe can just, maybe just hit his check down a little more, I think we'll be fine. But that's all I got to say. Roll Tide, we coming.
Hey, Dwight, before you go, man, give me a couple places to that I should check out to eat at when I go up to Lexington. You have any on the fly? Or you need another show to think about?
You should definitely go to Malone's Steakhouse.
Okay, Malone's.
Go to the Malone Steakhouse.
All right.
Yes, get you the Anthony Davis steak.
A. Davis steak, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
It's good. Look. All right, man.
All right, man.
Take care, y'all. Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide to you too, man. All right, so I got that was good. So I'm going to go to Malone's and have the Anthony Davis steak. All right, got it. Got a couple super chats to roll through, and then I'm going to close it out. So, first of all, thank you very much for supporting the show. I really appreciate you guys. Davis is asking thoughts on the Washington Huskies. I think that's the offensive coordinator that everybody wanted. Look, it's hard sometimes to believe in these Pac-12 schools just because, like, we've seen this so many times. The only team that I feel from that conference that is something real is USC. I guess Oregon, they're making a lot of noise, but I mean, look, I think that Caleb Williams is a problem. I think that some of the athletes that they have are a problem. I think the offensive schematics are good. I think the schedule lines up well for them. Utah, clearly they have a good defense. A lot of the teams in the Pac-12, this is like the last hurrah. This is like their Alamo season, right? In the Pac-12, seems like all those teams are ranked. Isn't Oregon State ranked too? Seems like all those teams are ranked, but I think Washington is good offensively, and I think that's the guy that Saban wanted initially. Adam is asking, Kyle, I would love to see James Smith get more playing time. He's nasty. Yeah, some of those guys within the defensive rotation have been starting to get more reps, and I think that's good. Another guy was Damon Payne that people were talking about, who was able to play against Ole Miss. So I appreciate the super chat and the continued support, Adam. And then David from Louisiana says, let Uncle Charles keep talking for the rest of the show. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think he does such a great job, and we'd love to have him as well as you, David. So with that said, I'm going to close out the show. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Big day on Monday as you got Nate Oates press conference and some basketball footage. And then you got Coach Saban, Jalen Milroe up at the podium as we get you ready for another week of Alabama Crimson Tide football. Alabama takes on Mississippi State this Saturday in Stark Vegas. ESPN time is 8 p.m. From beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, my name is Kyle Henderson. Before I go, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the channel, hitting the subscribe button. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers, which is really amazing. A really big goal to get there. So I really appreciate you guys. And I hope that you guys know that I put a lot into the show. And I want to look presentable. I want to make sure that you guys have good audio, and all the videos that are uploaded, I try to do my best to bring you the very best content when it comes to Alabama Crimson Tide football coverage. From beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you made some time for your family tonight, and I will catch you on Monday right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Good night, everyone.